Well, I gotta say a merry, merry, merry Christmas. We certainly hope and trust that everyone out there right now is having a good day. I may actually cut this camera feed for right now, Magic. I may have to do a thing or two to see if I can't get a good. I mean, to me, it's more important that we have something that's not herky jerky and sound terrible than folks see my face. So, hey, the finer prints out there in the chat, what do you know? Merry Christmas to you too. So, without any further ado, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. It's kind of hard for me to say this, but Happy Kwanzaa or whatever else it is that you may want to enjoy and celebrate. I think that the biggest thing this time of the year is that we all remember in the depths of winter here in the Northern Hemisphere that spring's on its way. And what better time with these long, long nights and short days and lots of time on most of our hands to just reflect on the past year and the people that have helped us. Hell, the people that have hurt us and how we may be able to contact them and how we may be able to either make amends or, hell, you never know, Magic Bollocks, tell them to kiss our butts. But as we're going to open up here, I didn't think that you would really be following this, but as this drama with Kraut and T and Jeff Holiday, and oh my goodness, I see some of the names are just horrifying to me, like Based Mama, and I can't think it. It's in Rage Before Storm. She's actually not bad, but I just see some of these names. It's like, oh my good Lord. These people can't, and look, this is going into my opinion, so I'd rather hear yours. I think part of the problem and the reason I want to hear from you, Magic Bollocks, on from my part, is in this day and age with a cacophony of sound and everybody screaming and yelling and all the blaggarts and braggarts and bellowers and bludgeoners. It's nice once in a while to hear someone weigh in on a hefty topic like this and still act like they're British. So if you've been following this, what can you tell us about this whole drama? What's going down? What can be done? Can anything be done? Do we care? Should we care? Are you bothered?
Not particularly bothered. I'm just looking at it from the outside as a completely neutral observer, or I try to be. And it is, I think, as I said to you before, an absolutely incredible clusterfuck, if ever I've seen one. I just cannot believe what Kraut has done. Did somebody place a bet with him about Kraut? I bet you can't possibly lose 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And he said, I bet you I can. Because it really is. It's the digital equivalent of putting a noose around your neck and jumping off the building. And
that was so funny.
What is it
actually? I can.
Yeah, but what's it actually proven? Apart from the fact that he's basically mashed up the skeptic community, tore it in half, and now they've ended up in a situation where you've got things like the Kilroy event, where to start with it was a great idea. It was going to be this big free speech event next year that all these members, all these famous people on YouTube were going to, because of what happened this year with MythCon with Sargon getting all the and all the others, like Armored Skeptic getting all the abuse before the actual event. Yeah,
that was terrible.
It sounds great on. Yeah, it sounds great on paper, and now with all this going on, you've got like Tim Pool pulling out and a couple of others, and them then saying that other members are not allowed to go because they're alt-right and they're not welcome. Well, I thought this was a free speech event. The idea of being a free speech is that you sometimes have to listen to opinions you don't agree with. But if you don't allow them to speak, then it's not a free speech rally. It's a censorship rally. It's deplatforming. It's exactly the same thing the SJWs do. So it's, mate, it's unbelievable. Really, it is. And as I said to you before we came on, I'm really, really hope this doesn't tear the skeptics apart, because at this particular time, we don't need a fragmented center with the alt-right potentially growing in popularity.
Yeah, and I don't want to rush you through this. We have some great news. I just want to say it again that Magic Bollocks put the show map together today. I have really good stories, and we're already getting people chomping at the bit because they want us to cover that. But I don't want to. So I don't want to rush you through this. Just to ask you some questions. I want to hear what you got to say on. So, if you can, what does the skeptic community? Because look, it's hard for me to say that. That's one of the reasons why I ran afoul of some of these people now. And it's hard for me not to just engage in the Schadenfreude, because I see this, man, and it's like these people that I was a nobody. I mean, I had 50 subs when I just got piled on for calling myself a skeptical Christian, which I am. I don't know what else to say. I'm not ashamed of what I believe. It's no more crazy than believing in Odin and Thor and Loki and Wicca or nothing or whatever. It's just what I believe. Look, I'm getting long-winded now. I want to hear from you about this. So look, Magic Bollocks, what do they mean to us? And well, no, just leave it at that for now. Cabbage Patchman Star, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Thank you, sir. If you're free, send me a 1, Cabbage. I'd like to get you on here. I think Magic Bollocks wouldn't mind either.
No, not at all. If he wants to come on, more than welcome. I mean, to me, they are more entertaining than anything else because they talk about things that I think are quite important. They attack people who I believe need to be attacked. But it's funny that all communities eventually end up eating each other. And I have got a horrible feeling this is exactly what's going to happen with the skeptics. Or the current crop of skeptics anyway. Maybe this is what happens when they all get too big, is that, the ego grows, tolerance to criticism begins to wither. And, I think that's the main thing that happened to Kraut was that he just couldn't accept the backlash he got. He didn't act with civility. He didn't handle it correctly. It just seemed to make him get worse. The more they slagged him off, and the more downvotes he got to upvotes, it just made him worse. And I mean, I don't know the bloke. I've never spoken to any of them. I've watched their videos. So I can't really, say how, what they were thinking, but it really is a very strange one. But that's why I'm so glad that Mr. Medicure is actually covering it, because if anyone can put it in a way that normies can understand and with a very humorous twist as well, it's going to be very, very, very entertaining to watch. And in terms of where the skeptics go from here, I don't know. They might just fade away and people forget about it, or people like you said, Dave Cullen and Sargon and the others, they will just ignore it, I think, and just carry on doing what they do. But whether it'll end up costing them subs or Patreon payments, I don't know. But it's really been a very interesting year for that community. Ironically, all the SJWs had to do this year was just sit on their thumbs and let their enemies tear themselves apart, and it's a terrible shame.
And you've been listening to the conversation, Cabby. Pipe in however you want. Any points that you want to make on this? Good to see you, brother.
Yo, hey, Buster.
Is it good?
Yeah, they have. I mean, it really has been more of a case of SJWs are not winning anything. The so-called skeptic community. I don't even believe that title anyway. What does it mean? I mean, it's not like it's community. You got people with critical thinking skills, and now they have turned upon each other because the SJW movement really isn't attacking them as much as it used to. You know, they did a lot of damage. And so now they're shouting into not a vacuum, but you know what I mean? A lot of the people who were active and outspoken, you know, on the SJW side have been pretty much disregarded by the majority of people because they did a successful job. So the only people they had left to go after were each other. And that's what's happened, you know? Oh, having said that, crowd, I mean, that really was obnoxious, you know, creating the server and just going after these people. It was just nasty.
Is that because I'm not into, I haven't followed it too carefully, Cabbage. So that's what you see as from your own personal opinion. You've seen that that's what happened. He created this Discord to go after people. Yeah,
with the full intention. And he claimed that it wasn't the case, but then of course the recordings came out, which proved that that's exactly what the purpose was. So he got hoisted by his own petard. So he really didn't have anywhere to backstab. It would have been okay, even if the server logs had come out, and then people would have plausible deniability. But once his own audio, came out with him talking to who was it, V or whoever? No, not V.
Yeah, I thought it was. I know him and Jeff Holiday did some things, but that was all public. I'm just watching Mr. Mediocre. I can never say his name correctly. And he is putting out a wonderful little thing. But, Cabbage, I don't want to be a dick, so I'm not going to be. You recall there was a time where some shit went down. You were pretty smart about it. Nothing. But there some shit. I just want to say this. I don't think I'm wrong because some of the names that are coming up right now, Cabbage Patch, by all effect, because, one of them, Base Mama's in there, and every time I see her name and something bad, I think I should be doing backflips and be happy, but I'm not, man. I would like to see our community make it. I don't even know what my question was. It's hard for me because in a way, as I was saying, I want to embrace the Schadenfreude. I want to say, but that doesn't accomplish anything.
Yeah, but you see, this is the thing. What the shit posters have now found is that the shit posters are posting against themselves. It was really funny looking at that latest Sargon video. The one he did about the last social, the last snowflake. The parody. The satire, and people flipped out. They really thought that he'd gone completely Anita Sarkeesian. They couldn't understand that he was parodying, what a social justice warrior inverted would look like. Right? They couldn't get it. So everyone, they're all, and don't forget that a lot of people have moved over into what you would call the skeptic community from the left. Or they haven't really, I suppose the spectrum's moved, whatever the hell that means. So there's a lot more people now who are looking at stuff who really don't have any frame of reference because they're so used to taking everything literally. They couldn't look at it and say, well, what's he trying to do here? Is this comedy? Is this what? And they just took it at face value. Everything's so literal. And unfortunately now that's what's happened because of the absorption of so many more people, because a lot of people ran away from the social justice movement as it was, right? Because they really didn't want to be tarred with that brush because of how radicalized they became. So they were kind of adopted over into the other side. But then they still don't get things because they don't have that level of sophistication because they're so used to everything being spoon-fed to them. So even like a Sargon video, and it suddenly gets backlash because it's a parody of the Last Jedi.
Well, is that what's going on, Magic Bollocks? Is everybody just getting too bloody sensitive and too bloody butthurt over nothing? I mean, and I know I'm not just saying about the Kraut thing. Is that what in general are we witnessing? Just too much butthurt all around?
Well, it's everybody dividing into certain subsections, isn't it? They're all protecting their own ground, and they're all, thinking that they're now in this category and they're in that category. And if anybody says anything that's even remotely what they seem as derogatory, that's it, straight for the jugular. And it's like watching a bunch of kids, basically, fighting over a toy. And it's odd in a way that they're supposed to be the skeptic community, which is fighting against ideology. So the idea being is that you can make your own rational decisions based on critical thinking. And yet all that's happening is you're getting two sides here in the same community that's basically at war with one another. And it's madness.
Yeah. And the thing is that they used to think that they hated each other, but now that one of the sides has one side has warmed towards them, but then they end up killing each other anyway. You know, then that's where the infighting has come in. Most of this infighting is generally from center-left people. You know, like that's where the real battle line is now. Because we've already identified like the radicalized groups on the left and the radicalized groups on the right. You know, so now the fight is over the center ground.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, damn sure is. And I've not only seen that in this, boys, but also, man, that like, okay, centrist is starting to be picked on as if they just said I'm an anarcho-capitalist or I think the world is flat. You know, it's like all of a sudden if you say you're a centrist, it seems to be the center is being attacked and by everyone. And in this case, come on, man. I mean, and that's why I mentioned that one particular person. I won't say again, Cabbage Patch. I don't want to sit here and go, ooh. No, you know, screw that, man. Life's too short. It'd be nice if everyone could make it. And that if we could realize that Jeff, man, and I love Jeff Holiday. Someone, please, before we move off on this and go to the news, one of you gentlemen explain to me, is this, I'm watching him apologize. This don't look good, man. I don't know what else to say. It looks rough. Anybody seen anything with the Jeff Holiday thing? It does appear that him and Kraut, oh Lord have mercy. Look, I don't want to go down the road to where it just ends up being like a Worski thing where we start to, you know, the big drama deal. So I guess if anything, why don't we do this? We'll let Magic Bollocks close us out on this, Cabbage Patch. But why don't you tell us, is there what's the way out of this, Cabbage? And I don't want to put anything in your head. What is the way out of this? What's the end of this? Uh-oh, we may have lost Cabbage. And if we did, he'll be back. And what I mean by that, I'll ask you the same question as we wrap this idea up. What would be the end of this, Magic? How, you know, and if there's something we could do or if it's just going to go away, what's going to be the end of this?
I hate to be the one to say it, Mr. Ogre. There's not a lot we can do. But there is one thing we could do. We could do like Mr. Metacure is going to do, and just watch the shitstorm unfold in front of us and sit back and enjoy the ride. It's all we can do, really. And even though a lot of people are going to come out looking like complete and utter shitbags, at the end of the day, you dig your own grave. Don't, you know, complain when you eventually end up in it.
Gone right. Yep, you make your own bed, you lay in it. You can't complain about it. Well, Cabbage will be back with us. So again, this is something we could.
Sorry, Mr. Ogre. I just noticed common sense has just picked up on my comment in the chat. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Oh no, I see that. And also, I got to say that 5CT 5555555 says exactly, and it's not that he's agreeing with me. He just says it's not worth arguing with these petulant children. So I just seen another Cabbage Patch popped in. So if we have an audio on you, what's the end game on this, Cabbage? And then we can get into this news. There's some cool shit here I know you want to talk about. Come on, Cabbage. Oh, Lord only knows. I think where he's at.
No, it's the control room thing. For some reason, I think I've turned off a service that it needs or something. It used to be fine, and then it just went weird. And it just drops me out every now and then. Just winds up my CPU. The fan goes crazy, and then it drops me out.
Huh. Well, you're back now. I'm very glad. So what's the end on this before you cut out again? What's the end? How's the end? How should it end? Is there something we should do? Something we can do? Should we do nothing?
Yeah, same tactics. Because, and this is what's happening. The center ground battle is being fought in the same way as the SJW battle was being fought. The same tools are being, but now it's internalized. You know, within the normal rational community. The reason that in the olden days, years ago, when people were taking the piss at social justice warriors, it was so blatantly obvious how flagrant and totally misrepresentative their views were. So it was easy to exploit and take the piss out of them. And it was all about the categorization of people. They just don't use the same tactics. don't go into this, don't go into identity politics. The very same games, because we are now doing precisely to ourselves what they would, what we were doing to them before. And it will destroy it. It's the rules for radicals concepts, right? The rules for radicals are being applied now to the centrists and to the, the average Joe. We know who the right are, we know the left.
Always when he's on a roll, or when somebody's on a roll, that's where it comes down. So we'll go on. We'll move on with this. He'll have some more good rants for us, and just leave it to me. The first time we get Cabbage Patch Bastard back on, he has quite a good guest to have, Magic, for us. He always makes the show more interesting. Of course, it's going to be a little rocky, but he'll be back. So what do you think, Magic Bollocks? We said our piece. Why don't I pop the story, read a little piece of it, and we can start tearing into this Rosie O'Donnell debacle. I did like that you got this news from one of my favorite sources, Tyler Durden. Really does write some good articles. So this is number 1 on the show map. If you're following along in your hymnal, turn to hymn number 1. It says, Rosie O'Donnell offers GOP senators $2 million to vote against. And here he is. He's back. So if we can hear you, what we'll do is we'll let you wrap up, give your idea, Cabbage. And I think we kind of got the gist of it. You just seem to be on the beginning of a good roll.
God damn it.
So
Google sucks.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. You were right on the banger of a good roll. But you'll have some about this too. So here we go. It's as I said, hymn number 1 in your hymn book. Rosie O'Donnell offers GOP senator $2 million to vote against tax bill. Angry backlash follows. On Tuesday evening, Rosie was fired up when she tweeted at Republican Senators Susan Collins and Jeff Flake for a no vote on the upcoming tax reform plan, asking both senators to contact her through direct message for their chance to collect $1 million check. No Republican senator ended up voting against the bill. Now, and then she says right here, Rosie, this is obviously her account, says, so how about this? I promised to give $2 million to Senator Susan Collins, and $2 million, so it's not $1 million. It would actually be a $2 million check, and $2 million to Senator Jeff Flake if they vote no. No, I will not kill Americans for sour rich. DM me Susan, DM me Jeff. No shit, 2 million cash each. Now, this says Twitter users immediately lashed out at Rosie, saying this is beyond fucked and is very illegal, referring to her apparent disregard of 18 U.S. Code 201, bribery of public officials. I could read a little bit more of this. Let me just read this person's response, and then we'll start tearing this apart, boys. Tim Poole says, this is beyond fucked. It's very illegal. This is extremely dangerous for powerful, high-profile individuals to make offers like this. We know the backroom deals happen. Okay, before I let you boys kick it off, I'm going to say this very quickly. Really, come on, folks. Let's put our big boys jackets on and pants on. I am assuming this was a joke, okay? And it wasn't public. So what do you boys think about it? And I hate Rosie O'Donnell, okay? I'm not sticking up for her or for what she's saying, but she did used to be a comedian. So what do you think, boys?
Exactly. Yeah, it was SNL, and the Roseanne Barr show, and no, sorry, Rosie O'Donnell. It's come on. People just, like I said, we're going back to this literal problem. Everyone takes everything too fucking literally. They can't take a joke.
No, that's for sure. And you found this for me, Magic Bollocks. I know that you have a particular opinion on this. What direction? What did you see this as? A problem? Do you see this? I mean, how should we look at this?
I just saw it as complete desperation on her part, even though she's trying to dress it up as a joke.
Exactly.
Not that I'm.
It was a bad joke.
Yeah, not that I disagree with what Cabbage says. Yes, it's a joke, and that's exactly as it should be seen. But why don't we, as a joke, get the FBI to investigate her for actually offering a bribe? Let's see how fucking funny she finds that.
Oh, no, that's the thing, right? You can make a joke and then it blows up in your face. I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
FBI turning up and, all of her boxes and stuff get pulled out. Same thing with all of these other jokes that these, extremists do. Yeah, fucking hoist them by their own retard. Yeah, right.
The thing is...
I can't disagree with that.
The thing is, it's so easy to trigger Rosie O'Donnell. You just have to ring her up, and the first thing you say is, Donald Trump is president, and she's fucked. Good.
Morning, Rosie.
Proper.
Donald's still there.
Proper, yeah.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Just give her a
it really boggles the mind, doesn't it? I mean, we've had prime ministers in this country I can't stand, but if somebody said their name to me, I wouldn't suddenly flip my shit and then try to, actually bring down an entire government just because somebody you don't like is now running the country. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but that shows you where the power structure has completely been, reorganized. The way in which, say, for example, you got Bill gave, what was it, $1 million to Obama's campaign, made a big song and dance about it. You got the super PACs and everything else. Everyone knows the money's there. You see, the problem with what Rosie O'Donnell did was she made it too obvious. It's so much in your face.
Yep. I kind of agree with that, even though it was a joke from a comedian. The problem is she's trying to make everything political. And if you're trying to make everything political, you can't suddenly turn around and say, "Oh, I'm only joking." It's like the kid. Bro. It's like it's like the kid in School Cabbage that was like, "Hey, come on, I'd like to, wrestle with you a little bit, but no hitting, right?" And then you're wrestling with them, and you might be getting a little bit better, and then they give you an old sucker punch, bang, and then when you punch it back, they say, "Oh, no hitting," you know what I mean? And that's what this reminds me of. No, it's either no hitting or we're gonna punch each other in the face, Rosie. And we can see.
And Rosie wants to play this game, get caught out by it, suffer the consequences. As far as I'm concerned, the morning news with her house being raided by the FBI, I think would be fucking hilarious. That would be far better than the joke that she made.
You just want to see him dragging out the 18-inch long double-headed toilet brushes, and that woman is just, I can't even imagine. I'll be honest, I think it would be funny, but I don't want to see what's in her closet. She's a disgusting human being.
Amen, brother.
Wow. So I don't know. I guess to me, when I think about this, it goes back to the first time we talked about it. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. One must be very careful. And Rosie, in this case, was not only not being careful, she was just being Rosie O'Donnell. And look, on her best day, before Trump was president, and on her best day, and on Trump's worst, she's out of her league. She's no longer in a league of her own. If anybody gets that one,
yeah.
But she's now off into another league.
Actually, Mr. Ogre, while we're on the subject of Rosie O'Donnell, and it's slightly off topic, but slightly still on it, what were they thinking when they cast Rosie O'Donnell to play Betty Rubble? I don't know if you've noticed, but her body frame is nothing like what we imagine Betty Rubble to be. We're all supposed to find her to be the attractive one. Yes,
she was more attractive than Wilma. Not that it's a cartoon, but yes, she should have.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
maybe they got confused.
But Betty's the girl next door that does the dirty shit your wife wouldn't.
I thought it was a confusion at casting because her surname's Rubble, and they were trying to find a woman who looked just like a boulder.
With the personality to match. I could never get, because she's done some funny things, but anyway. In fact, I think Cabby said Roseanne earlier, and I realized that's Roseanne Barr. But you know what? They both suck much, and they both it just hit me, Cabby. It just hit me because they're the same bloody person, aren't they? Anyway,
they're interchangeable. They really are.
Same bloody person. Don't matter. You got one over here, you got one over there. They're both fat. They both got dark hair. They're both American. What's the bloody difference? They both suck, and no one really cares about them.
Sorry. Have you seen what Crumple Point?
It's all.
Sorry, have you just seen what Crumple Point's put in the chat? He said she was miscast. She was meant to be Dino.
And Crumple Point should be on for Monday. The 5th. Also, Cabby, I hope you. I think that he's listening now. So your official invitations for the the debacle on the 5th of next month, the 5th of January, which will be Common Sense Guy's birthday, and our look back at the 10 best and 10 worst things that happened in 2017 will be that day. And if for no other reason that you just come by and watch the Common Sense Guy, get completely pissed, that'll be worth the price of admission, which is free as always. So yeah, oh man, we keep looking, and I'll tell you, you'll grow to love Cabby. He don't come on all the time. He comes by once in a while, but he's a pretty funny guy, and it's, damn it, I'm just going to try to realize he's going to be in and out. You can see he'll pipe up whenever he comes back. We won't have to prod him. He knows what to do. He actually helped us start a radio broadcasting system a long time ago. I'm not sure if he wants me to say the name of it, so I won't. It would be, in fact, I don't think he does, because it would be too easy to figure out by the sound of his voice, who he was. But he's an old radio guy from way back when, computer hacker, I think it's safe to say, and just all around general good old curmudgeon of a son of a bitch. That's Cabby, man. He's just a hell of a guy. Oh, so I don't know. One last thing on this. Now that Cabbage is back, either one of you boys, before I pop up the next story, we got to get to some of these good ones. I'm going to try to keep it moving along. So if I do go too fast and there's something you want to say on any of these things, don't be, of course, nobody here is afraid. What am I saying? Just stop me and we'll go back. So what do y'all think? One last thing on Rosie O'Donnell. Does anybody have one last thing they want to put on Rosie O'Donnell?
Well, I have one word.
I wouldn't put anything on Rosie O'Donnell. Well, maybe a truck or something. A truck of peace.
Yeah.
I put that on Rosie O'Donnell.
I've one thing to say to her. It's more of a suggestion than anything else. Slim fast.
Yeah.
South Beach diet.
Yeah. And preferably doing some aerobic calisthenics.
Okay, and the church said, amen. We're going to go on right to the next one here. This is, of course, hymn number 2 in your hymnal there. It's right down there where it says show map. I can't say it enough. Thank you so much. Both of y'all will love this because it's from your home country, and it's about everybody's favorite mayor. And no, I don't mean Boris. I'm talking about Sadiq. I will con you out of everything you own.
Okay.
So here we go. This is from Guy Fawkes. It says Ghetto Fawkes. I've never heard of this publication, but this again comes from Magic Bollocks. I'm finding some new sources. I was asked the other day where I get my sources from. This is where we got cool people that they come up with this stuff. So labor. Khan breaks another election promise. Khan broken promise counter 7. Says Sadiq Khan's wasting of money on gimmicks and cronyism sees the mayor announcing an increase in the council tax precept by 5.1%, well ahead of inflation, and breaking his promise to keep the GLA council tax precept down as far as possible. And what is this, Guido? By Guido's count, this takes his broken election promises to 7. Do we want me to read a couple of these Magic Bollocks, or what do I need? What else do I need to give you for this?
Yeah, read away. It's very, very interesting to see what an utter bullshit master he is.
Okay, so TFL Fairs, the promise was, I want to be crystal clear. No ifs, ands, or buts. What you'll pay if I'm elected mayor in 2016 is what you'll pay at the end of my 4 years in office. Reality. Daily and weekly caps are rising an average of 2%. Travel cards, season tickets prices are rising by an average of 2%. So you'll pay 2, 4. Well, you actually got to compound it. No, you'll be paying upwards of 10% more by the time he gets out of office. Affordable housing. Promise. Sadiq, don't you love these jackasses that refer to themselves in the first person? Sadiq will set a target for 15% of all new homes in London to be genuinely affordable. Reality. His new policy is that he hopes to convince developers to voluntarily meet a target of 35% affordable housing. Police, promise, 32,000 police officers on London streets. Reality. Now only committing enough funds to maintain force's current strength of 31,000 officers. Trees, promise, plant 2 million trees by 2020. Reality, no tree planting has been funded since the beginning of his administration. That's sad right there, but here we go. I'm getting close to the 2 more. Green energy, promise, make London run on 100% green energy by 2050. 100, that's very aggressive. policy. 100% green by 2050 will London be. Reality. Sadiq's team admits they have no idea what the percentage was when he took over, let alone today, because energy generation is apparently now a matter for central government. Strikes. Promise. Make sure there are 0 days of strikes. Reality. Tube strike travel chaos. Aptly in his first year. So there's plenty in his first year. So that's been apparently this guy. Yeah, well, I'll let you all talk about it. I've just read quite a lot. Where shall we start with that, boys? I'll tell you what I thought was the funniest was 2 trees. Green, it's the city of London. Not a whole lot of places to plant all these trees he wants to plant, and the green energy.
No, they got a. There's a plan for roof gardens. That gardens, you know, it's almost like going back to the days of World War II or something. You know, make everything green. It's pathetic.
All right. Well,
I just thought
it really. Anyway, my summary of Sadiq Khan is just he can go fuck himself. I'm so sick and tired of that guy. I really am. Everything that comes out of his mouth is just nonsense.
I just think that they should plant all these trees in Sadiq Khan's bullshit. They'll be up in no time.
Plenty of fertilizer. Oh. Well, I will always remember it. I'll never forget him saying that, hey, we're just going to have to get used to terror attacks in a city like London. It's just got to be a way of life in a city like this. And man, I mean, I hear that stuff. Wasn't there a guy named Lord Wellington from your country? Some feller named Nelson that was like had one arm and still was just unconquerable. Wasn't there a lot of like tough guys that came from there, from where you're at? It seems to be hard to tell nowadays, from time to time.
Yeah, well, don't forget, but that's because we have to have a quota system for our heroes. So now they've all got to be paraplegic, lesbian, purple-haired mutants. Fortunately, they don't have to win many battles. Sad what this country's become.
What was that, Bollocks?
Oh, that wasn't me. I was just listening to Cabbage. I think he was going on to a proper monologue there, and we just couldn't hear him, could we?
Yeah, no, I know it. It's gonna be.
Right.
It's gonna
be.
Hear me? This. It's just so robotic. You're at about 80%. You're about 80% a lot of the time. So I don't.
It's this control room thing. I don't know what. Just don't fuck with the control room. Turn it off if you can. Whatever.
Can I turn? Okay, that's what that
was my
question. So if I just X out of that didn't turn it off. I'll look around on my controls and see what I can do. I don't ever use control room is the thing. I haven't used control room since I've had the mute Cabbage Patch about 3 months ago. no, I don't know. I don't use it. But
didn't Sadiq Khan come over your side of the pond during your election last year, Mr. Ogre, and try to shill for Hillary Clinton, if I remember rightly? This is part of the reason why he hates Donald Trump so much now, because he basically showed him up. Same time as Farage was over there doing his speech as well.
Now, see, I didn't know Khan was here. And yeah, I remember when Farage, man, I was watching that live. I listened to or watched every one of Donald Trump's rallies. It was just, I don't care if people say it's like a beer hall rally. I loved it, man. The Americana, the whole 9 yards. And it was just good. But man, Sadiq Khan, no, I don't remember if he was here. I'm just going to tell you, to most Americans, we don't like him. We can't. We have De Blasio's and we have our Rahm Emanuel's, and we have enough mayors like that here. We don't need him or his opinions, with all respect.
Yeah, I was actually hoping that when he was over there, he'd actually get arrested, and then we'd never have to have him back. You know, maybe just on the border between one state and another, and just, you know, maybe they decided to act before asking too many questions. But yeah, you don't get everything, do you? What,
conspiracy to commit terror, right? Probably would be what they'd get him for.
Well, exactly.
Like he was planning a bomb or something, because he is one of those Akadaka, you know, Allahu Akbar kind of guys.
But I still maintain he just looks like a blacked up Mr. Bean, and that would have been enough reason in the States to have him arrested anyway.
Oh, mercy, he does too. I've got to just pop this up. He really does right there. Look
I
at
never
him.
thought about that. That's a beautiful comparison.
He does.
That is
very beautiful.
I call him.
Does.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
When I sent
Even
when I sent the link originally to Ogre, the slogan was "Brown bean bullshits again."
oh my goodness.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's I'll never be able to get that out of my head now. Never be able to get that out of my head.
I bet you can find a picture of Rowan Atkinson with exactly that look on his face, and it'd be
same. Yeah, the mouth, especially the mouth. Yeah, just look just like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, I love Blackadder. I mean, I just like Rowan Atkinson anyway. Blackadder, just look, I can't even say the name without you giggling. That's probably one of the funniest things that ever happened.
Yeah. Well, I was never a fan of Mr. Bean. I'm not into that kind of comedy, but the Blackadder.
It was weird. It was weird, hard to follow, especially like there was one where he painted his room by covering everything in tape and paper and then blowing up paint in the middle of the room to paint it. And then, and it was the whole, it's weird. It's weird. But I guess that's very British, that kind of comedy. We get that from y'all when we do that here. And some people love that shit, Cabbage. They roll on the floor over that. I'm more of a Dodd kind of guy, Ken Dodd kind of guy.
Visual humor tends to travel better, doesn't it? Normally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and just good funny. This guy right here, though, I tell you, I'm about got my belly full of Sadiq Khan, and we got better and funnier stories to come up. You say it again, Cab? No.
So I was going to say that, with Rowan Atkinson, he tended to be more with the language, slapstick.
Yeah.
Well, he always, in his early career, he was always trying to push more for visual, because when he was originally in Not the 9 O'Clock News, he and Richard Curtis wrote that famous sketch where his character is just walking along, notices the camera, starts waving at it, and then walks straight into the lamppost.
Lamppost.
And of course, on paper, it sounds terrible. But when you actually see it, it's hysterical.
That when he was doing his stand-up, and just doing the roll call. You remember that? It's one of the funniest things he ever did. It's listing names, and it's absolutely fucking hilarious.
Like Babcock and Bland and Nice and Quick. And my prick and your prick. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
yes, hard on. Leave my prick alone.
Well, they were actually. They were actually things that weren't quite blatant. But
I'll be a whale's vagina. I'm not going to give up on you, Cab, but when it happens, I'm just going to start talking, let you know. It's just like, so look, Sadiq Khan sucks, and we're going to get to this next story. We'll move on and talk about some other things. I tell you what, Magic Bollocks, put one last little, what would you like everyone to have as their last nugget on the Khan affair?
I'd say watch Star Trek 2, because that's a very satisfying ending to Khan, isn't it?
The Wrath of Khan. Okay. All right, that was good enough. Fair enough. That was actually, I guess I asked for that because I don't think any of us here have a whole lot of love. This is something that really got me, because you know what? When you mention stuff like this, and as we talk, especially, man, when we got Cabbage Patch here, we get some people here, and it's you and I and Common Sense Guy as it is, people are going to tend to call us conspiracy nuts. But here you go. After years of people saying this stuff about Apple, says Apple confirmed a long-time conspiracy theory and gave regular customers a big reason to distrust them. This is Apple CEO Tim Cook. Boy, he looks like a really nice guy, doesn't he? Just looks like the kind of chap that you just want to go have a couple pints, after work with and just talk about some fun stuff. Just a really nice looking guy. So Apple on Wednesday admitted that it had been secretly throttling the performance of older iPhones. The admission outraged even some of the company's biggest fans. Customers have good reason to be distrustful of the company and to suspect its motives. Apple has long inspired an almost religious devotion among customers and tech aficionados, but it just seriously undermined its fans' faith and loyalty. The company on Wednesday acknowledged what some people have long suspected, that it had been secretly stiffening the performance of older iPhones. And this isn't all, folks. Let me just read this and I'll give you my idea with everyone else, because this is, I want to break off in soliloquy every time I read a line or two, but that would take too long. Critics have accused the company in the past, based on anecdotal evidence, of purposely slowing phones to compel users to upgrade to the latest model. While Apple admitted to the practice on Wednesday, it sought to underscore that it had done so for a purely altruistic reason. How does that? Okay. To prevent older phones from shutting down unexpectedly. The justification hasn't mollified Apple's outraged fans. If anything, the company's statement has stoked the conspiracy theories, and for good reason, because Apple was caught red-handed. And I just, as I let you roll on right here, the problem is it's not just that. It's not the only thing they do. The batteries could last longer. It's called built-in obsolescence. That is the term for it. They do it in cars. They do it everywhere. But I would say that none is the forerunners in this planned obsolescence, this built-in obsolescence, is Apple. They've been doing it from the very, very beginning. I guess for me, the question is, do we blame them? What do you boys think about this?
Yeah, you kind of can't blame them for it. And these days, it's even easier for companies like Apple or Samsung or any other maker of hardware that needs software updates, because software updates can have code in it that will deliberately wreck equipment or slow it down if a company decides that their older hardware needs to now become obsolete and everyone needs to upgrade. From a business point of view, you can understand it. If you had a phone that was constantly being updated and ran perfectly, still ran every app you ever needed, you'd never need to upgrade. And I'm not exactly innocent at this myself. I've still got a Galaxy Note 3 that's about 5 years old, and it's still going. And I just can't see the reason to get rid of it as long as it does what I need. Now, I'm not the sort of customer that Samsung wants. As far as they're concerned, I should be like all the other Muppets who spend hundreds of pounds every year getting a new bit of shiny kit just to say they've got a new bit of shiny kit. So I understand why they do it, but it's still a shitty practice, though. But if they didn't do it, would they make enough money? I don't know.
Well, I think there's always enough money out there.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, Mr. Ogre? Is that I mean, the brand loyalty that Apple's developed, considering this was a company that was on the verge of bankruptcy at the turn of the century. If you'd have bought, I think, Apple shares back in '99 for whatever they were, say you bought about 1,000 of them, come
you'd be wealthy right
their
now.
peak. Yeah, come their peak about 2009, 10 or whatever it was, it would have been worth about, I think it was 1,000 times more than they were back in '99. But of course, who would have bought shares in a company that looked like it was about to go tits up? Who could have foreseen that they would come back the way they did?
Well, I hate to tell you, but when Bitcoin came out, if you bought $1 in Bitcoin, it's $1 million right now, or it was a month ago. So yeah, you can't foresee these things that we all be millionaires.
No, it's 20 grand. It went up to 20 grand, and don't remind me because I lost 12.
Well, Cabbage, I'd have to find the article. They're saying that with the day Bitcoin came out, if you bought $1 worth of Bitcoin, the moment you could have,
oh right,
it'd be worth $1 million bucks. Now I don't know, that could be right or wrong, but I will find that article if I need to. And
no, it's true, because when I was mining them, that was the point. It didn't matter. They were worthless at the time. It was like pennies. It was more like it was a hobby thing to do, a bit of Bitcoin mining on the side, and nobody really cared about them. All of a sudden, there's countless people
damn, I could see like his mute button kept coming on. Did you see that flash? Anyway, yeah, man. And this is gonna look. I'm not gonna tell him to stop coming on. We'll keep trying, but it is kind of messing my rhythm up. I love you, Cabby, but this is crushing because every time you say something intelligent and me and Magic Bollocks are listening, it's like, what? Oh. So yeah, all these things. Hindsight's 2020, and foresight, Magic Bollocks, is only as good as your own wisdom and personal experience will allow it to be. For me, Apple has been doing this forever. So has Chevrolet, Ford, everybody except for possibly Rolls-Royce. You know, everybody else, their cars are made to break.
Yeah, it's. I don't think anybody should be even remotely surprised by that article. The only difference is you've actually got some kind of confirmation from them. But you know what companies are like these days? They won't run any risk of any bad publicity, even though, you know, isn't there always saying about, you know, there's no such thing as bad publicity, there's only publicity. So, and the die-hard fans...
see that. Right?
Okay,
I mean, because
I'll give you one exception.
usually, though, Occam's razor would say that is the correct answer.
Yeah,
that it's always good publicity to get publicity.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think the hardcore Apple fans, you know, the sad fucks who actually went out and paid $1,000 plus for the iPhone 10 when it came out, you ain't going to change their minds. You know, their ego would never allow them to accept that their beloved brand that they, you know, invest so much in is ever going to
like
be
Scientology. You know, it's a cult. It really is.
It really is. Well, and look, I've got this cabbage. This is my iPod Touch, but this is I don't know. It's 5 years old. It's back when they were still aluminum, and I won't get another one, man. They're plastic now. This one, even though I like this one, it's not, man. The first one I got that didn't even have a camera on it or nothing, Mrs. Ogre still uses it. It's 10 years old. The battery lasts longer than this one. This battery, it runs, I could go on and on and on. Built-in obsolescence. And the longer Apple is there, I think the problem is this, boys. It's the question that was raised is, well, would they make enough money? These people, man, and I'm no socialist. I'm a capitalist to the bone. But these people are so freaking greedy. You know, and they are an example of why we have to have some kind of regulation. If it's not government, something, we have to have the people.
Okay. And this will piss Mad Dodge off, but this is exactly what Title II to Title I for the net neutrality issue. This exactly shows you the predatory behavior of companies when they have the opportunity. They won't self-regulate. They never will. They're greedy. They've got fiduciary responsibilities to maximize. So if they don't do it, then
well, yeah, technically they're derelict, but I mean, there's something as far as ethics goes, and you and I know we would understand that you got to mix ethics with it, but no, you got it. That's their argument too, is they'll always say, well, our first responsibility is to our stockholders, and look, I don't even like to go down these roads because I could hear it in Magic Bollocks' voice. I do agree with him. You know what? The company's got to do what they got to do. A lot of times it's hard to understand, and I will agree with one thing vehemently. The most shocking thing about this is that they said it. That is stunning because everything else is demonstrable. You know, they even said it's anecdotal evidence, but yes, it's demonstrable anecdotal evidence. It's not just somebody saying my cousin Sue's brother Billy's friend from down the street. It's actually, you know. So anyway, I was filibustering a little bit, hoping that you'd cut me back off, Cabbage, and we'll figure it out. I can't turn this damn control room off, but something is going on. Your mute button is like fluttering. I can see it like it's fluttering. No, you're not doing it. You're talking, and I don't know. It's very strange. Probably, I'm gonna guess the MI6 and CIA have finally put two and two together and realized that if we ever get together permanently for any length of time, that we will take over the world. So they're preempting us on that, mate. And who can blame them for that? Yeah, Magic Bollocks. Unless I'm gonna give you one more last word on this, and I will go on to the next story.
Just a quick one. Fuck the fanboys.
There you go. Yeah, I can't agree more. That's why I'm done with Apple. So, in fact, I shouldn't even have said that. Here, I think this is this might be the one everybody was waiting for. I'm going to screen share it. Magic Bollocks. It's got to do with SEX, man. This is what everybody wants to talk about, even when they're too old to do it anymore, it seems like, or too young to do it. But this is coming out of RT, one of my favorite sources for news, no matter what other people think about it. I think they're pretty genuine. Sex bots are coming. This has been in the news for a little bit. And it's not that we've avoided it, but now we've gotten to the point where, hey, I don't know, Magic Bollocks says it's time for us to discuss this. Sex bots are coming. Scientists say, there you go. How would you say that word right there, Magic Bollocks?
Digisexuals.
Digisexuals. Inevitable as more people bond with robots. So they're saying digisexuals. That would be human beings that like robots. That must mean what this word's definition would be. Human beings. A digisexual would be someone like a transsexual is trying to transition one sex. So a digisexual, man, that sounds to me like they're trying to say someone that wants to become a robot. But that's not what they're saying, is it? No,
I think they're trying to imply that people will actually only be attracted to robots. They won't find ordinary women attractive anymore, which...
And that makes more sense.
I hate to bring this up, but I have actually seen, I don't know if it was a documentary or if I read it, people who are actually attracted at the moment to dolls, like Barbie dolls or inflatable dolls. So it does actually technically exist already.
That's so bloody weird, man.
There's loads of nutters who things like, they can only have sex with a pavement, or the one thing I saw the other day was somebody who'd married their car.
Their car. I saw that. Yeah. He was in love with his car. Is that real, or is that just attention seeking? I mean, look, we'll get into this story, but Magic Bollocks, when you were watching it, because it's got to be the same bloody person. I hope there's not two of them, but if not, when you're watching that, did you believe that human was genuine when they're talking about their love for their car, like their sexual love and whatnot?
Well, you've got to remember, Ogre, we're living in a world now where a Japanese man has just married his waifu, hasn't he? So he's actually married an anime character. And don't forget, yours is the country that brought us that one episode of Jerry Springer that got banned. That infamous farmer who married his donkey.
Yeah.
And and I always remember that because they did a follow-up where he came on his own because the donkey had left him.
Oh, man. And I guess that was real. Because, yes, I remember that very thing. I used to watch Jerry Springer until they quit letting, you see them fight each other. When they like turn the cameras away, I quit watching. Because I just watched because it was like, wow, these blokes are going to, and they get the skanks. Look, I'm degenerating. Where's common sense when I need him? You're so calm and collected, I forget that I have to act like a gentleman sometimes. But here's the thing, and we'll do that while we do this. Things are going awry, yes. Let me read a little bit more of this, and we'll dissect it a wee bit. Academics are arguing that many people will soon be identifying as digisexuals and taking their sexual identity from having sex with robots. While sex robots are currently quite primitive, a new report published in the Journal of Sexual and Relationship Therapy, that's a serious journal, argues that before long, they'll be able to look, speak, and act like real people, and will be specifically designed to fulfill a person's desires, if you want a certain thing. The report's authors, Neil MacArthur and Marky L.C. Twist from the University of Manitoba, Canada, argue that we need to be ready to deal with the phenomenon when it comes to fruition. There is no question then that the sex bots are coming. Our view is that they will represent a different sort of sexual experience from what existing technologies offer. First of all, people will form an intense connection with their robot companions. These robots will be tailor-made. Look, I don't know if you ever watched a show called The Twilight Zone with Rod Serling.
Oh yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there was an episode where this man, he was, I can't remember if he committed murder, but he was a criminal. Okay. So he's being punished, and it was way in the future. I think it's supposed to be 2050 or 2020, whatever, in the future from even now. And so they took this man to an asteroid, several thousand, whatever, long way from Earth, and dropped him off there. Every 6 months, these people make their rounds. It takes them a year. The people that take care of the people in prison. When you watch this episode, I don't want to get too long-winded about it. So make a long story short. He becomes friends with the captain, and the captain drops off a robot. And in the end, he has to choose between leaving that rock, because they can't take the weight. They have to go, and they decided it was cruel and unusual punishment to have this guy on an asteroid, light years away from Earth. So they're going to bring him back, and he's going to be free. But he cannot take the robot, the extra weight. We've been warned, man. Terminator, Magic Bollocks. We've been, Cabbage Patch, I see your back. Terminator. I could go on and on. iRobot. I mean, all of these things, we've been warned about what can happen with this, and it's unhealthy, in my opinion.
Well, it would have been a much more interesting film, The Terminator, if instead of, Skynet's machines actually coming out to kill us, if they were just all fucking us to death.
Oh, you dirty boy.
It would have. I don't think it would have been quite the success it would have been, but it would have been in a lot of backstreet cinemas, I would have thought.
Terminator, the assault of the dildos.
Judgment dildo.
Common sense, just go on, right? Just have the lads on and just go on without you, right? This is your idea.
Hey, you were the one who said this is a no censorship channel, Mr.
No, it's good. It's good. That's a new thing. It's new for me, even me, to get used to. It's only been a couple weeks. I'm getting used to it. The way I feel about it is if somebody says something that someone doesn't like, they're always free to turn the channel. No one's put a gun to their head, and it is better that Cabbage or yourself or anybody can say what they want to say, how they want to say it, because when you spend the time trying to change the words that you would normally use as an adult, it can take away from the pathos, if you will. So yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I'm getting used to it. You dirty boys. I mean, look at the story we're covering. We never would have covered this in the past. But do you think this is unhealthy, Cabbage? I mean, is this okay? Would it be okay to form a bond with a robot? Well, I mean, why not? They never die. All you got to do is keep them lubed.
Welcome to the gutter, Mr. Auger. I think common sense shocked himself.
I did it. So you see, I mean, so what is it? And if he can pipe in, he will, because that's what the biggest thing for me about this is, who cares about the robot? But A, is it healthy for the human? And B, would you be able to, what if I went off to the store to pick up some pints and dinner, right? And when I get back, you're diddling my robot. Is that rape? You see, so it raises a lot of questions.
I'd say that's maintenance.
It's just a scheduled lube at a different service station. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. You can go down the sort of philosophical route of is this actually good for us as a society, actually having men preferring to sleep with plastic and wires than procreating and continuing the human race. But the thing is, if there was no demand for it, they would not be making these robots. So obviously somebody's buying them. And there was a story, I think it was on Zero Hedge a few months back, about the first robotic, sex robot brothel to open. And you could actually, there was an app you could download for your phone where you could pre-book it. And it was like, I don't know, about $200 for half an hour. And that it was an incredibly speedy process for each client, which was one would go in, he'd book maybe like half an hour slot or maybe an hour if he's feeling adventurous. And then as soon as he was finished, what they do is they actually have removable vaginas. So you essentially whip out the old one, in goes a new one, and they can bring the next customer in, and he's away. Now, I don't know if that brothel is still operating. I haven't bothered to check. But at least in China, they kind of have the excuse because of this big 2-to-1 difference between men and women they've got over there. So there's a lot more men than women. So there's a chance that if you are a fella in China, you might not get a woman because the women that there are probably quite heavily chaste.
Well, and I'm looking at this robot right here, Magic Bollocks, and I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to tell you the first thing that comes to my mind. Look at the butt on this robot, the posterior. Look at the bosoms. Look at the shoulder width. Look at the face and the hair. Women are going to start saying this. How could I possibly compete with this? With someone someone is now able to take Jean Grey from the X-Men and make her real. They're able to make, you know, a Mary Jane Watson walk right out of the comic book, and there she is. And now it's actually going to be able to say, "Why, Magic Bollocks, you really want to do that to me tonight?" You know, and you're like, it is, you know, I mean, that's going to be the next thing is, oh no, this is unfair to women. What do you want to bet? And yes, we've seen the brothel. We were gonna cover that one day, but like I'm telling you, some of these things are, I mean, it's touchy, but we're all adults here. It's late enough.
Yeah.
So I mean,
well, admittedly, if that woman was real, I think she'd break her spine trying to stand up, considering the amount of weight she's obviously got at the front there.
And the waist to hit. Oh my goodness. Yes. That's unreal. That's unnatural. Yes.
Yeah. But it's the one thing I've noticed about them, and I don't know if it's because they are all Chinese made, is that they obviously have the, you know, full figure of a fully developed woman, but they have ridiculously young looking faces on them, which is a bit,
yeah, that's twisted,
creepy.
This one right here is so twisted, because how old would you say this girl looks like in the face that they're showing right here with this giant boobs and butt? How old is this girl?
I would say considerably underage by Western standards.
I'm saying 12 years old. The face looks 12.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a little weird. And but if you go like that, it's like, wow. Does God make them like that for real? Can I have one? You know, can I too? It's something about, you know, men who want the big wide hips. It is, yes. And what'd you call it? A wafu or whatever?
A waifu. Waifu, they call them, don't they? The attempt to marry an animated character, which is, again, I think it's only possibly one step up from you know, just transsexual insanity, really. But it's, sorry, I should say trap insanity.
Didn't somebody try to marry a building or something as well? There's fucking lunacy.
A building? We were talking about somebody trying to marry a car. I mean, people do all kinds of weird stuff like that, Cabbage. It's unreal.
It just shows you the kind of level of mental dysphoria that's out there, doesn't it?
Binary Surfer said in the chat to me a little bit earlier about, did you see the guy who could only get it up by having sex with a letterbox? And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I've seen so much shit on the internet now, nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing surprises me anymore. It just goes to show when people are given the freedom.
I bet you was like,
yeah, when people are given the freedom to express their mental retardation, before the internet came along, somebody who, like you said, wanted to have sex with a pillar box or a letterbox, whatever, if they told that to somebody, they'd probably be told, go and see a doctor immediately, there's something wrong with you. Now they go on Google and they type in you know, thing for letterbox or sexual fantasy of putting penis in letterbox, and they find a forum where there's loads of other weirdos who are into that sort of shit, and they suddenly find these people, they converse with them, and they suddenly think, oh, but there's more people, so it must be normal. No, you're just all fucking mental. That's all it is.
Thank you. Yes. And look at this, Cabby. Look at this is when I think of creepy, this is what comes to mind. And the female is not. And I mean, look, and they're showing that it's egalitarian. Here's this chick with her dude. I mean, that is as weird and creepy. I mean, look at this. Look at that, man. You know, and this is also. I mean, all these are fake. This is a doll right here, and yes, that's very realistic. But to me, it's not much different than that. I mean, it's all weird, man. Oh, and there you go, dude. That's what you were talking about. That is like a 10-year-old girl now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell me,
anyway.
Mr. Ogre.
Yes, sir.
What would Mrs. Ogre think if she was to come home one day from work and find one of them sitting behind you while you were doing a live stream? What would her first opinion be?
Oh Lord, here we go again. No, I mean, if you ever watched the series of movies, Iron Man, Pepper Potts comes down one day and he's trying to. It's right when he invents the suit, and the machine's trying to take the suit off of him, and he's like ink, 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 and he's got something coming up, out his butt and everything, and she's looking at him. He says this to her: "Come on, Pepper, this isn't the worst thing you've ever caught me doing." So that would be my answer to that. It would be, "Come on, Jenny, this is not the worst thing you've ever caught me doing." But she, to be perfectly honest now, no, man, I mean, what? No more than I would want her to have, like this strange woman here with a fake Dudamar. No, she wouldn't want me to have a fake rubber girl if that was the kind of the gist of the question. She would not like that. It would be weird. Because I just think it is weird. It's strange.
Is that really cheating because of the fact it's not real? It's just, in that case, it's just latex shaped into the form of a person.
You know what? If she was here, I'd ask her right now. She's just off at our aunt's house doing some nice things for her. Otherwise, but I'm going to guess her answer would be no, it would not be cheating, but it still would be weird. Like, look, if my wife had some toys that I wasn't aware of, that I wasn't able to have, then I would be like, man, it wouldn't matter if it was anything from a dildo to a full-size rubber dude. I mean, don't we all want to be included in our significant other's sexual stuff? And the answer for me is yes, and I'm sure that's her answer, also. So I don't know. I see this as, in some ways, being healthy because it could be. I'm sorry, Cab, go ahead. Yeah, I won't even be able to be polite.
It's weird being about wanting a whole feminine entity. Women have been using dildos, which is just a disembodied body part. I mean, which one is more disrespectful, a dildo or an entire sex toy?
Got a point.
I don't know. That's a tough one, honestly, for me. I don't know. I don't think you made it to be a tough one, but for me, that's a very tough one. I would say that one is a little weirder, but they're equal because they're both nothing.
Really? So it's weirder to have a disembodied, part of somebody rather than...
No. It's no. I get you. No, it's weirder to have the whole thing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when I see this dude right here, they got that one that Magic Bollocks, as soon as I put up, he's like, "Ooh." In fact, both of you lads were like, "Whoa." That dude with his rubber kosh, whatever she is.
Yeah,
that is just weird, man. This right here, this is the epitome of creep. When I think of cringe and creep, that's what I'm thinking of right there.
The ultimate cuck is going to be somebody who buys one of these dolls for S&M or something. He's getting his ass beaten by a robot.
Oh, that's so strange, man. And this, I mean, look at that. I don't know what to say other than at a glance, it's like that's a real chick. And what unbelievable, fantastic proportions. She must spend a lot of time in the gym. Look, I got to quit showing.
Did you know that one you've just shown, Mr. Ogre? You can actually buy that now through Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really, really weird.
Yeah, I'm not going to put up but yeah, I've seen that in the thing. This one is also for sale. There's a couple of them in here that, there's straight up, you can buy them right now. But I will say this, as I let you two boys think about whatever it is the last thing you want to say about this titillating topic. For me, my last word on this has to be to each their own. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's messed up, but I can't tell someone else what to do in the privacy of their own home. No one would be being harmed. And so there you go. That's it.
Yeah, I kind of second that, which is, you know, there are a lot of people out there with some very strange fetishes, and as long as you're not actually, nobody's being hurt, you're not doing anything illegal or anything, you know, sick, then fine. If you want to put your dick in a bit of plastic, that's entirely up to you. But
now, why does it have to go there?
The downside, of course, is you can't exactly go to the pub and brag to your mates about it, can you?
No.
They said, like, oh, lads, I pulled this beautiful bird last night. And they'll another one to say, yeah, I got this cracking bird last night. What about you, Jeff? Oh, mine came in the post. Yeah, it's just...
Oh, why not? We've had postal brides.
And without
how many guys going around bragging about their Taiwanese girlfriend? You know?
Yeah.
It's the same, isn't it?
Without... It's pretty much the same to me, yes. Or their Eastern Bloc girlfriend, yes. It's all the same. But to me, without putting a real fine point on it, has anyone considered like the wash-up aspect of it? I mean, it would seem because some.
What do you mean? You mean the cleaning? Yeah, no, it's probably it's going to be dishwasher friendly, you know. So. Just put the genitalia in.
Well, it would have to have like if there's no exit from the same. In other words, if the entrance doesn't go all the way through to the other exit, like both of the orifices are connected or something, where you could clean right through, like push a towel through with a stick and like pull it through. I mean, that's all.
Like cleaning a gun.
Right.
I'll tell you what. If you took a photograph of that, Mr. Ogre, put it on Facebook, it would go viral.
It would.
No, in fact, I'm never going to talk about this again. I can't believe it's two Englishmen and you lads are just no problem and think it's funny. I'm embarrassed a little bit, but it's okay. It's all right. I'll get over it.
Well, it's your Puritan roots. That's why. It's your Puritan roots.
That's the Jew in me. See,
I think you're more Jesuit than Jew, I think.
Oh, God. I've nothing to do with the Catholic Church, man. Nothing to do with the Catholic Church. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, not really. I just thought it was funny. And you know what? A lot of people wouldn't know that Jesuit means Catholic. And you know what else is funny about that is that our great and honorable vice president here, Pence, everybody likes to say he's a Christian. He's a Jesuit. And no, they're not Christians. They are not Christians. But yeah, no, I think.
Well, Guy Fawkes was a Jesuit. Guy Fawkes was a Jesuit, you know.
There's good ones. There's good ones. Well, look, man, this will make us all laugh.
Not all Jesuits.
Yeah, right. Not all. Hey, it was what's his name? Hunter S. Thompson that said, you know, he liked a good Jesuit because they really like to kill. And they could really tell a good lie and were good at arguing. He said it right on David Letterman's show. Does anybody know who Hunter S. Thompson was? Gonzo journalist.
The originator of Gonzo journalist. Here in Loathing Las Vegas and everything. Yeah.
I thought you might know, Cab. I thought you might. And you know, even though the Rum Diaries and all that have been movies and whatnot, but still people don't know who the hell he was. They have no idea. But there's always an old hippie like you.
I read all of his books.
Yeah. I didn't read them all. I don't think, but I read Hell's Angels, and I read the Kentucky Derby is Fear and Loathing at Kentucky Derby. That was brilliant, man. That was so good. That was almost like an essay, though. I don't know if I'd call it a book. It was almost too short to be an essay, or too long to be an essay, and too short to be a novella, maybe. I don't know. You can't call it a novella because it was so true. It was anyway. What did they call him? They said he was the most factual, no, so he was the most I can't remember anymore, but they used to connect the fact that what he was saying was very true, but with using different names and in a dishonest way. Wow, that was so far off in the weeds. Magic Bollocks ain't said a word because he probably don't know and don't give a shit who Hunter S. Thompson is. And anybody with half a mind probably wouldn't because he was a madman. But check this out, Magic. I'm even going to see if I can put the sound on it for this very short. That's only 6 seconds long, so forget it. With the internet today, I'm not even going to try. You just sent this, and the caption was, for those of you watching, it's story number 5, and it's called "The Darwin Award Goes to," Everybody watching, check this out. Oh, and I just, one more time. This is just, and he comes down, and then, you know, when he wakes up tomorrow, man, this boy right here, right, watch right here how he hits. It's like on his, right here, there's a stop, you know, a dead stop. And so he's sitting pretty much with his tailbone and his right hip. Oh, man. I don't even know what to say other than why.
Hey, just an idiot getting what he deserves, Mr. Ogre. It's always very, very enjoyable to watch.
Well, I mean, I wonder what he was thinking. If he was he just trying to do something dumb and then started sliding? Was his intention? And I know nobody can really answer this, but was his intention to actually try to slide down it? I think some of the things I read was people were saying. I mean, I've never been on the tube in London because I don't live anywhere near it, but you say as a kid you see these escalators and you see the big slide down the middle and you just love the idea of jumping on and just sliding down and, you know, smooth drop at the bottom. But of course that's the reason those enclaves are there, is to stop people from doing it. And as that half-wit's found out to his detriment, it does its job quite well, because it even knocked him off before he even got to the bottom. So, you know, fair play for, you know, Transport for London. They do occasionally do and come up with some good ideas. Yeah, and I did read down here a little bit. Apparently, maybe not James Grower. Yeah, I guess that is the person, James Grower. He did manage to walk home. So without reading a bunch of these, the good news is this fool, though I'm sure he's going to be hurting for a couple, 3-4 days, maybe a week or more. He's not dead and he's not hurt. I'm going to tell y'all something real quick. I know a guy, we call him 50-50 in North Carolina, went to the races in Charlotte, North Carolina to watch the Charlotte International Motor Speedway. Same day, 50-50, man. They reinforced the top of this, what do you call it? A caravan, you know, a motorized caravan. They reinforced the top of it so that you could stand on it, so that you could, because I mean, it's a mile round track, maybe a mile and a half. So it's small for NASCAR, but it's pretty big. And that's so you can stand up there with your beer, whatever, and you can do this, you know, go out and just keep, well, 50-50 was going like this, boys. And he wasn't paying attention to his feet. And he got all the way over to the edge and he went, boom. It was about 13 feet from the top of that. Not quite, I guess. It must have been not quite that. It must have been 10, though, at least. Boom. Okay, got himself brushed off. He was pretty drunk to get hurt that bad. Well, there's a big tradition there at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You can check this out. People go down turn number 3 on beer coolers. This thing is banked, gentlemen. I can't remember the degree, but it's like this. It's getting up there. It's quite a large bank. They climb up to the top of that, sit on a beer cooler, and ride down it. 50 was so drunk when he got up there. Where the cars ride, there's a big rubber hump. It's about at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches tall, where the rubber just builds up on the pavement there. When his cooler hit that, it threw him off and it tore all the skin off the right side of his body. So, yeah, you know, sometimes fools get hurt and stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to learn their lesson. Oh, the same guy. I could go on and on and on about 50-50. He's either got terrible bad luck or is very stupid. You'd have to know him to decide. I've made my mind up, and I think it's pretty clear what I think. Love you, 50, if you ever happen to watch this, but I doubt it.
Yeah. But that's the fun thing, you see, Mr. Ogre, is that if people just always thought about what they did, we wouldn't get these beautiful moments like that. And that's why I am glad to know stupid people, because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have half the antidotes I do about all the daft things people have done, all the crazy, stupid shit they've done, because otherwise they would be too sensible to do it. So, you know, I big up the idiots.
All right. Well, and you know what it is? We're getting nigh on hour and a half. Cabbage Patch keeps popping in, and I hope you'll be here and can say something not only for your final word, Cabbage, but for this next piece. Because before we move on into a little bit of fun banter and talk about maybe some things that we love and we appreciate for this holiday season, I want to get into this last story. And I thought also another very good one. I'm always going to send the show map. I'm just going to have to get more on the stick because I usually give Common Sense about an hour. I know you've got a life and work. I don't even know if you can read it. I don't know. But I'll send it to you. If you can look at it, you can. That way, if there's anything else you want to stick in there, stick it in there before I actually put it up on the, where it's at now. But this was something else. It's so strange over there. Because we got to, here it's our conservatives. They're all so interested in porn. Over there, isn't it labor that like really cares what kind of pornography you're watching? Or am I wrong about that?
Well, I think it was Theresa May, I think, who is obviously our current prime minister, who wanted to restrict access to porn. Or it might have been Cameron, I can't remember. One of them wanted to make ISPs block porn unless you opted out. I don't think it's come in yet, because, well, not that I'm saying I haven't checked, but that was the thinking behind it. The idea being is that porn will be off as default, and you actually have to opt out yourself.
Well, here's the problem with being buttholes about pornography. If you're a politician and not just letting people be their own selves, and like we said about the robot women, and that's why we talk about it. Whether we not only do we want it to be interesting, but yes, these things need to be discussed by adults, and we're all adults here. If you're not an adult, you shouldn't be here. Get the fuck out of here, Johnny. But this right here, Damian Green is sacked over porn cover-up as Theresa May suffers third cabinet departure in 2 months. So it says right here, Damian Green was ordered to resign as first Secretary of State on Thursday night after Cabinet Office investigation found he had misled the public and MPs over what he knew about pornography found on an office computer. The Prime Minister's de facto deputy and closest ally was told to resign by Theresa May after she told him his conduct had breached the ministerial code of conduct and fallen short, in quotes, of the behavior expected of ministers, which should be high. And Mrs. May, maybe you don't mean it, but we'll talk about that. I'm sure Cabbage might touch on that. He is the and I don't know if I need to read much more about this. There's one more paragraph, boys, and I'll cut you all this. He is the third cabinet minister to be forced from office in the past 2 months, and means that Mrs. May ends the year with another crisis after she'd appeared to turn around her fortunes with success in the Brexit talks. The 7-week inquiry, originally launched after the complaint of inappropriate behavior towards women, found that he had misled the public in 2 statements he'd made last month, denying the police had ever told him about the material being found in a raid on his office in 2008. In fact, the police had raised this problem with the solicitor in 2008 and with him directly in 2013. And this goes on, and I think that's enough. So either one of you boys want to kick it off? You're both far more British than me. Should this guy have been sacked? And if not, why not? And if so, why? Lay it on me.
You can have this one if you want, Cabbage. Or maybe not.
We're gonna have to hope he pipes in.
Yeah. I'm not that overly familiar with Damian Green. I know he's an arch Remainer and has really been a thorn in the side of the Brexit negotiations. So the fact he's gone is only a plus in that respect. It seems he's had a bit of a constant run-in with the old bill now for at least 9 years regarding porn found on his computer. And he seems to have, of what things I've been reading about him, a little bit of a shady past. So he's not the kind of person really who should ever come off the back benches anyway. So I don't give it. I don't really care that he's gone. He was more of a liability than anything else. The whole idea about should you be sacked if you've got porn on your computer? Well, the place I work, a director ended up getting fired for that's similar for that very reason. Although it wasn't just porn, he was actually using company time for swinging. He was caught by a member of staff in a hotel he shouldn't have been in, and evidence started being collected on him. And one of the things was he was actually downloading porn during work time and had a load of it on his computer. And one of the very things they used to get rid of him was because of the fact that you're not allowed, company policy, to use the company internet for inappropriate use. And downloading porn is classed as that. And most companies you'd ever work for.
Yeah, but they weren't. He didn't. He just had some thumbnails.
What was that, Cap?
Which could come in. Well, he didn't actually have porn. There were thumbnails which could have been, from a pop-up, ad or something.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's
very different.
I think somebody had it in for him, for Damien Green anyway. And so I think he was going to go anyway at some point. So it's a real strange one. And also we're in that situation now, isn't it? That anything that's seen to be any behavior by especially a male MP that might be derogatory towards women, and of course porn is seen by certain quarters as the ultimate derogatory behavior towards women, even if there wasn't anything actually on there. Because even Jess Phillips made a comment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even Jess Phillips made a comment about so is that all male MPs do all day? And what's called in the comments is when they're on their own they just have a wank. So
yeah, of course, naturally, bound to be the case, isn't it?
Oh,
obvious. Yeah. Well, in her mind, yes. Because it's either that we'd all be out raping, wouldn't we?
Of course, because rape.
So I mean, presumably, she preferred people being raped than wanking. So.
Yeah, but you know what?
That's the thing. A feminist can't tell the difference.
And just as many male people.
Actually, if you're thinking about that,
females are doing it too.
If you're thinking about somebody while you're wanking, does that technically is that classified as raping them? It's sort of like some.
I'm not going there. I'm just going to say that as many males that are doing these kind of things, the percentages are the same for females. They've caught female anchors with things where they shouldn't be in vibrators, and they make vibrators to go into some females to all day. It's what they're made for, to just for any time. And no, it's not right. And if that's the case, because we have our problems with judges here that are, look, I don't even want to make the hand gestures, that are doing things under their robes and have penile pumps and erection enhancers and are just masturbating under their robes. No, and females do this too. No, that shouldn't happen when it does. But the idea that you have this, who did y'all say? Because that name sounds so familiar. I know who she is. Who said that all the men just felt? I mean, what's the idea of saying something like that? Because yes, we're all cracking jokes that.
Yeah, you probably recognize her, Ogre, because she's the one Sargon sent that tweet to. I wouldn't even rape you.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm just not connecting totally, but I would know her if I seen her. The problem that I'm having is we all have to laugh about it, because if we don't, we cry. Because the idea that all of our MPs are in there having a wank, if you will. No, I mean, that is so ridiculous. What is that saying about your country? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
and
not exactly a stiff upper lip.
Some might get stiff. It depends upon how stiff your lip is. Anyway, more bathroom.
I see. Common sense has been. Oh, sorry, carry on, Gary.
No, I was going to say it's going to be transcendental rape now. Anything and anyone. It doesn't matter. You just throw the title around these days.
Well, it's funny you said that, Cap, because I was thinking the other day, what if you said to a girl, I was I was by myself the other day, and I was just thinking about you, girl, and I did this, that, no, you don't have to be graphic even, and something happened, because I just couldn't get you off my mind. Would she be able to not only say that was sexual harassment for telling her that, but would she be able to say that you raped her? And it's coming to that.
Yeah.
It is coming to that.
Yeah. Transcendental raping. Yeah. It is getting that fucking ridiculous.
Mr. Ogre, can I draw your attention? We've had a super chat.
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. Sorry, I got a little carried away. I've been thinking about a lot of things. And, oh, man, what a generous one. This is JJ Soda Rock. Shouldn't be surprised because he's very generous with us. He's been one of our, in fact, I think he may be one or two as far as our top donors. And not only donating in money, he's definitely one of our top donors here in Magic Bollocks, and just you see what he types. The guy's just really good to have around. So JJ Soda Rock says, Merry Christmas, one and all. Eat, play, be happy, and be safe. Well, I'll tell you what, JJ, you just definitely made it, because last stream that we did, I think we were at 96 something, and I was mentioning it, and then I think we got $6 or so that day. With this, definitely the good news is it'll be over the $100 mark. And Common Sense Guy, everyone here, I think, follows him. You see, he's so upfront. He tells you what's going on. I mean, when he ain't going to do a video, he'll tell you why not. He does a video to tell you why not. So he's pretty upfront. I'm sure that he'll keep everyone abreast. And right now, between Magic Bollocks and known Magic Bollocks, not because we need you to be a whiz kid and build a computer or anything, just because I think you said you may have a connection. And Yamaguzi, what's his name? The Shinobi Yaki.
Shinobi.
Also, yeah, he also said that he may have and here's Cabbage Patch. Between the people that we know from this stream, he should be able to get some good parts to put it together. And he's a little nervous about that magic. But if he just got his camera out and pointed it down, I could be like, put that in there, screw that there, and plug that in that. To me, it's easy.
Come on, a computer it's like a big Kinder egg. You can only plug parts into one place.
Right, thank you. It's bloody easy. It's bloody easy peasy. So thank you so much, JJ Soda Rock. God bless you, man. The spirits bless you. Like I always say, I don't care if you pray, chant, or give burnt offerings to Yojo.
Yeah. I still have my.
Thank you very much.
I still have my offer from before, which is anybody who does a super chat can ask me anything they want, no matter how ridiculous, and I will answer it. So JD is now entitled to ask me whatever ridiculous question he wants. So fire away.
Show us your bollocks.
Oh no, good Cabbage. You remember how that turned out last time, don't you?
What was this?
I do.
So we can't do that. And that was an after chat. Good heaven's sake. We don't have censorship, but there will be no nudity online, no nudity on air.
By the way,
if you want to give nudity after air on the after chat, that's your business, but I wouldn't suggest it. They'll get you.
Sorry, has somebody been naked?
No, I'll tell you about it later. I can't really bring this up. I'll tell you all about it, bro. I can imagine there's people in the chat right now that know about it. They're laughing. But it's just good advice to never do.
Oh, and Mr. Ogre,
I'm just totally embarrassed now, man. Totally embarrassed. I'm gonna drink a beer now. It's your fault,
Mr. Ogre. Yes. I've noticed that Common Sense has actually been trying to get our attention for at least a good 5 minutes now with the same message over and over again. And I thought about letting it go for at least another 15 minutes to see if I could get him to type it in caps, but I think we've teased him long enough. He says...
I didn't know he was saying anything. Go ahead.
Yeah. He says, Ogre, he lied to the police twice as well as the public. And MP, it's the point of lying, not the porn. So basically, the reason Damien Green's been sacked is because he's a lying, bullshitting bastard.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
Hang on. Well, the thing is, did he know that he had porn on it? And if he said, no, I haven't been on a porn channel, and it happened to be a cached, thumbnail from a pop-up or something, he just didn't know. He just an ignorant dick. He just, doesn't know much about computers. May not have been intentionally lying. Wrong, but is that intentionally lying?
I don't know. And you know what? It's a gotcha anyway, Gab. I mean, I don't know this guy, so I'm not going to stick him. I don't know who he is or what his policies are. I don't really like May, but whatever. I'm just saying that, like the FBI here, they ask you questions like they'll read your emails and know that you went to lunch on Wednesday with somebody. And they'll say, well, Cabbage, do you remember Tuesday when you went to lunch? And you're like, you just remembered, yeah, I went to lunch. And, oh, yeah, I remember that. You just lied to him. You just said you went to lunch on Tuesday when it was Wednesday, and it is that trivial. You look at General Moron there. What the hell's his name? Or, talk to Kezliov. I can't even keep up with it. I don't even want to go there right now because I can't keep up with it, man. It's a crock and load of shit. But with this guy right here, if he lied to the police, and I don't want to get too far in it without him here either, because I don't know. Fuck lying to the police. Since when is that a crime? Since when should you get sacked for that? Maybe he didn't want him to know. And what did he lie about? About having porn on his computer? I would just say that having porn on your computer is different than lying to the cops about having a dead body in your boot. I think we can all agree on that.
If it was Theresa May's body, I wouldn't complain.
Oh, easy. Easy. Oh, I don't want to have my sex over here. No, that's funny. I mean, of course, if she died from natural causes, I mean, it's like.
Oh, absolutely. She just happened to die of natural causes and fell into his boot at the same time.
Yeah, we don't wish her any ill will, not by any stretch of imagination. But yeah, if she happened to choke and die, and right then when she did, maybe George Bush, Sr. and Jr. simultaneously would choke on the same Thanksgiving wishbone that they've been drying, like they're breaking it, and it flies in the air, and they both look up, agog, and the bone, and they're and just die. I don't know. That would be horrible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Back to that thing about the FBI, right? You think he doesn't know what kind of information they will have. What they
Oh man. I think if I was only Cabbage, I might as well cut you off, because if I was only getting if I was only getting 10% more.
What kind of things he was going
to. Is it just me, Magic Bollocks, or is it
it's me too, and I think everybody else.
Cabbage,
and the thing is, you just know he was saying something good as well.
I know. So let me do something, Cab. I'm going to try just one other thing. I'm going to just restart everything. You boys hang on. I'll be right back. Because maybe if I restart everything here, that's the only other thing I can think to even try. So let me check some out.
It's the control room, mate. That's where the problem lies. I know it is. It always says the app failed to load, and then it goes to shit. And the fan spins up, and then it dumps me. It happens every couple of minutes. See, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I can hear you better now, Cab.
Yeah, well, it's the control room bullshit. The app fails to load for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And then I haven't put auto update.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what it's like when he comes back. Cheers, Moz. Any question you want, bring it on. Well, we seem to have a few seconds to burn, so let's go to our sponsor, shall we? Hello, welcome to my curry shop. If you come down and have my curry shop, I will give you all sorts of treatings, all sorts of curries, naan bread, papadoms, all for very good prices. All you have to do is come in and say, I listen to August General, get 10% off. We will give you all sorts of treatings, including rubbings and blowjobbings. Thank you.
I came back to some Indian man on the stream that I didn't know was here.
Just filling some dead air.
I think it might have been me, because I came back and it actually let my thing drop. Cabby, are you there? Yeah, man. Guys, actually,
I think he's gone again.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of, I can't blame it on him. It's kind of fucked the whole show up, but in a way, it's worth it, because, man, when he's on his game, he's actually a really good guest. I've already said that once before. I ain't going to say it again. He'll tell me I'm kissing his ass. He's very British about that kind of thing. And I don't want to kiss anybody's ass. But, yeah, so thanks for filling the air. Who is that? Is that a particular character that you tend to do from time to time?
Well, since Common Sense thought that my Welsh accent sounded more Indian or Pakistani, It's just a voice that I've been able to do for a long time. And you talk like this, and you wobble your headings, and then you say, "Would you like something from the menu, please?" And then they say, "I'm not going to give you that because it's not on the menu. Go away, please," silly English person singing.
I feel like I can still just get a hint of English accent in there. Like it does sound like, well, you sound like a Hindi from bloody Birmingham, man. Oh, that's funny. There he is, Cam. I've restarted that. This may have done it.
Ogre added the control room. It just says here. It says Ogre has added the control room. It says fuck.
Has added. I didn't add any. I just came on. I don't know how the fuck do I turn it off? I'm gonna try. I
think it used to be disableable, but now I think you're stuck with it whether you like it or. I need to do it. It's probably the auto updates enabled, and it probably is some kind of update issue.
Yeah, because I'm at my wit's end, and it just figures.
It's not you, mate. It's the fucking Hangouts.
Well, no, it figures
something changed.
And I got to give it to Magic Bollocks again because he's just started here hanging out with us, doing right at deep end. He did the show map, and it's not easy, man. You're right in the middle. Not only do we want to hear what you're saying, but it's like I'm telling everybody out there, and I'm trying to make an apology to my co-host. Hey, it's kind of worth it with Cabbage because, damn it, if it would go right, he's usually got something very interesting, provocative, insightful, inflammatory, all those things to say. Something interesting to say. But anyway.
Ogre, I'll recap then. What I was saying about the minister is that you don't think that he knew the full power of the knowledge that they would have had. He's a member of Parliament. He knows the powers that they have, the information they could have gathered in order to pull him in for an investigation.
He should have known. I would think he would know that they.
That's what I mean. So therefore, if he said, "I really don't know anything about it," and it just turns out he's got a couple of thumbnails on his computer, that just looks like he got a dodgy pop-up. I mean, that doesn't mean he wasn't going onto dodgy websites, but I don't think it's something that really deserves that kind of backlash.
Well, what do you think about when people say that? Well, he lied. I mean, that's what Common Sense Guy's answer was. Is that it's not a
but like he lied. Yeah, but was it an intentional lie, or didn't he just know? So they say, "Well, we found this on your computer," and he goes, "Well, I didn't go to that site," and he doesn't know that he did. It just happens to be a pop-up that he closed. That.
Well, so let me play
thumbnails to his hard drive, right?
So let me play devil's advocate because your mic's finally freaking working. So what I'm trying to say is, what if he knowingly lied? Even should that be that big of a deal? I mean, don't get me wrong.
Definitely.
Okay, all right.
No, definitely, 100%, absolutely. Right. They call themselves. They have the audacity to call themselves honourable members of Parliament, right?
Okay, yeah.
And I'm sorry about the opposite of honourability. It's not right honourable. Yeah, you got to stand.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Yeah, can't argue with that. That seems to be across the board. What do you think, Magic, on that? Because that's kind of interesting to me. Do you feel the same way, or no? Or do you feel like no? If you lie to the cops, kind of your business to be able to deceive if you want to.
Well, it depends on what it's about, really. Because I mean, obviously, you can get away with maybe a little white lie for just an ordinary citizen. I suppose the big thing, like Common Sense was saying, he's a public servant, and the highest level of public servant. He is an actual elected MP. It's a difficult one. I'm sure Cab will remember this one. I can't remember his name. That MP that got involved with Plebgate. Remember the one where he was trying to get his bike through the gate, and the police accused him of calling them plebs.
The police officer.
What was that? Sorry, mate.
Sound like a robot took a dump. Just carry on.
It seems to be every time I talk to him, Mr. Ogre, I just shut my gob, and he might.
No. Carry on. In fact, somebody, a bigwig just sent me a request, so somebody's about to jump on anyway, and I'm sure he's going to prod you. So just carry on.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was this other MP whose names escapes me at the moment, and he was trying to get through the gates outside of I think it was Westminster, or it might have been down the street, and the police wouldn't let him through. I think it was because he had his bike, and they accused him of calling them plebs for not letting him through. he denied it, and the police were adamant, their officers wouldn't lie. And I think in the end, it turned out that the police officers actually had colluded and had lied. But I think it was not before the MP in question actually had to stand down. So we know that our wonderful police officers in the past have been known to bend the truth a little bit, especially when it comes to elected officials that they don't like. With Damien Green, I don't know enough about him really to have an opinion on him. So whether the police particularly had any beef with him, I don't know.
They did when they were going against Labour. This all stems from about 8 years ago in Blair's government, when he was raided 8 years ago to do with that. This is where this investigation comes from. But everybody seems to be missing the actual point. The actual point is not the fact that there was porn on the computer. That's not a sackable offence. The sackable offence is the fact that he's lied about it to police in the investigation twice. He's also lied about it to the House of Commons. He's also lied about it in Parliament as well. That is where the sacking comes from. The fact that he has lied about it and has been proven to be lying about it.
Well, and the media is pretty clear about it too. They're backing up what you're saying, because it's obvious, it's obviously makes common sense, because it says Damien Green sacked over porn cover up. Doesn't say that now they do want to put porn in here to make it provocative and get you to read. The Telegraph does, of course they do. I do the same thing, but we can see that yeah. Good to see you, common sense, man. Good to see you.
No worries.
Yeah, you shocked me there. Just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. I was like, I recognize that voice. And here he is.
Yeah, good to see you. Feels good to have, even if it's just for the last little chunk here. It's good to have the mates. And I don't know, as far as I know, Common Sense wanted to come on, make that point, tell somebody in the chat to kiss his arse and leave. I have no idea.
Pretty much. No, I just wanted to make that point, which is the whole point that everybody's missing. It's not the fact that it's to do with him lying to the police even. It's the fact that he's lied while he's actually producing to the House of Commons. I think that's the most major point. He's lied when Parliament's been in play.
Yeah, that's not cool. Well, I did get a cider tonight, mate. Here's to you, Common Sense.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Cheers.
See, this was the reason I got this story, because I thought it'd be right up Common Sense Street, and I'm glad to see it didn't fail, because I had a feeling you'd know about this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you have the same opinion of these cabinet members that I do, then yeah, I didn't really care that much about the actual details. The fact that he's gone was quite satisfying, because he is an A1 prick.
Yep, I agree with that. It's the same though. If I would have thought that it was Jacobs Rees-Mogg, if I knew that he was actually lying in Commons and lying to police in investigations and proven to be, then I'd want him gone as well, no matter how much I like and support him.
Yeah, but the Mogmentum hasn't done anything like that. He's not.
No, definitely not. No, I'm not accusing him. I'm just saying that if I was to put him as an equivalent.
Oh yeah, my heart just sunk a little bit because I like that. He's probably my favorite of your politicians at the moment. Just like the guy.
Yeah.
Yep. He's mine
my
as
dad
well.
absolutely hates him. Yeah. My dad,
which means we definitely have to support him. We definitely have to support him. Then.
Definitely.
Oh, mercy's sake.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. I'm not gonna be here forever myself. I see that Cabbage keeps popping in, so he must have something to say about this also. And if he does, Cabbage, you just pipe up whenever you get in. You've been hit or miss. So if you feel like you got to run, it seems like you go in spurts. So if you got to run, say what you got to say. And because I don't know what else to do. It was a nice try, though. I think that you two have very similar mics. I looked up that mic, Magic. You got a good one. I'm about ready to get another setup, but I don't know. I'll tell you about that another time, too. I'm about ready to just go off on a tangent. I got a little stoned. I'm going to smoke a wee bit more pot. I kind of want to, as we wrap up this idea about this Damien Green, make sure that everybody's had their say and then some on it. Everybody done and feel satisfied with the the discussion so far. We all know. Hopefully everybody got common sense point there too.
Before we do move on, can I just quickly go back to Sadiq Khan's thing and just make a quick point that everybody seems to have kind of missed as well, which I'm not sure if that's due to memory or whatever.
Naturally.
Obviously, you mentioned the fact that he was supposed to be planting trees and whatever in the whole borough of London. Boris Johnson, Boris Johnson beforehand was going to make a whole bridge that was dedicated to just planting grass and greenery and just making a bridge across the Thames and just calling it Eden. I think it was the Eden Project. And as soon as Sadiq Khan come into power, he looked at it, he tore it up, and then said, "We're not going to do that." And the thing is, that was one of Boris Johnson's most supported puts downs. Everybody supported that because it was a place like where it was an open park type of thing, where everybody could walk across the bridge and sit down during the middle of the day and sit looking over at the Thames as well. But Sadiq Khan decided, no, we're not going to do that, and just completely destroyed the idea and pulled it apart.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yep.
And I got just a kind of a question here, since we're transitioning anyway, that I was going to try to type out, but I'm not going to try to type it. To answer your question, Botha, I do eat marijuana, but I don't eat fresh. When you say fresh, I don't know if you mean fresh as in just plucked off the plant. No, I don't eat it then. I don't want all the chlorophyll and stuff. But I would cure it, grind it, and then mix that with just a little bit of flour, and I make something called canna flour. You can also make canna butter using cannabis and simmering it with butter, but that gets to be a little bit too precise for me, so I tend to just make the canna flour and then make brownies. But yeah, eating it it is better for you, but you also have to remember that when it goes through your liver, through the digestive tract, it turns it to THC delta 9 instead of
that's bad.
It's way more psychotropic. It doesn't make it any dangerous or anything, but you'll think it's dangerous. When people talk about being paranoid on cannabis, yes, you can become paranoid from smoking also, but nothing like consuming it that way. That's where it's like, there's a famous video that went around for a while in Michigan from a Detroit cop got some pot that he took from a perp or whatever, and he made brownies with it. Him and his wife ate it. They called the freaking ambulance. They called emergency 911, and he said he was like, "I'm dead." He was like, "I'm dying. You're dying. I can't breathe. You can't breathe. You're talking. You're yelling. I'm dead. I think I'm dying. I'm dead." He said, "I am dead," like 4 times. That's stoned. Now, believe me, I've been there. I just knew enough to be like, "Oh, this will pass. I'm just stoned." Anyway, so please be careful. Who again? The person that asked me that was Botha. And so all I would say that if you're, and I'm not saying you're an amateur or anything, I have no idea. For all I know, you're a connoisseur that's been using cannabis for years and know what you're doing. Just please be careful with any substance, even one as physically harmless as cannabis, because nobody wants to have a bad time, and always start out with just a half as much as you think you need. You can always do more. It's called titration. You can always do more. You can never do less once you've already done it. So you go. I heard a big clearing of the throat. I think that means common sense either has something to say, or I talked too much about pot, or I'm not sure.
I just wanted to say thank you very much to the 2 people that did the super chats, and to JJ as well. No, we haven't got near 1,500 yet. I will not get that good of a computer either, but I do appreciate every form of donation that everybody puts into it. And as Oga said, yeah, as Oga said,
I just seen Mose did that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, as soon as I get anywhere near enough to get a computer, I will do an actual point where, if I do get a computer, I will do a video suggesting how I've got the computer and what I've got into it as well, and what's been happening and what's happened. So I will do updates and things like that, because as Yoga said, it's your money, and I want to make sure that you know that I'm spending it on what I say I'm spending it on, rather than just taking money off of you, because that's not what this is about.
So I thought we were going to hook up in that town next to you and get some hookers and cocaine. And so you changed your mind on that?
Shh, this is just why we're on air.
No, of course. I was saying that before, because I mean, anybody that knows you, that follows you, which are anyone that's willing to give you money must. So all you got to do is look at his channel. I mean, when you're not going to do a video, you do a video saying, "I'm not going to be able to do a video." You're very good about keeping the people that know you and keep up with you informed on what's going on, and I think that's pretty admirable. That's why it's all. And yeah, with this, now I screenshotted that. That screenshot I sent you today was before the last one, which would have put us over that threshold to be able to get the money, period. And then this definitely today. I mean, that's very generous of these folks. And we understand it's Christmas. We don't expect it. In fact, I can speak for common sense on us. We don't even expect it. It's always so dumbfounding to me. I go off. I thought Magic Bollocks left. He's like, oh, the bloody boy's talking about money again.
No, it wasn't that. I was just thinking to myself, is that I hope Common Sense doesn't get caught with any porn on his new PC when he gets it.
No, that's what the laptop's for.
Well, that'll be your because that'll be your job, Magic Bollocks, is to keep an eye on him with what he does with the customer's time and money and computer, right? That's
I'm more good at extraction of the money than actually spending it.
Well, I like to do both. But yeah, I can't say enough about that. So look, boys, sorry about Damian Green. I think it was all talked about, litigated. I think some good points were made. My points, just remember, I'm a Yank. I really don't know. Try to keep up with British politics because it's interesting to me. And a lot of you out there hearing my voice right now are British, and you don't know what that means to me. You all are just about to surpass Americans for my subs. 7% British. Sorry, I'd have to look again. 46% British and 48% American. And then there's like some Germans and some Finns and some others. But so England is, honest to goodness, with this little channel based in Michigan, it's almost 50% of my sub base is British. I don't know what to say. I've always wanted to be British, mates. I have. And I know you wouldn't have me. Too damn loud. And yeah, I know you act like you like me and everything when I'm here and when I'm gone. You know, while I'm here, you're laughing up your sleeve. And when I'm gone, I'm like, hey, I'm sure. I'm just glad to be here. I'm very, very honored to be here and to, in some small way, be part of your culture.
You can always take over from the Welsh people, mate. You can always take over from the Welsh. We don't like them.
Oh, God, here comes the racism again.
Oh, yeah.
I heard you do your little accent, Mr. Bollocks. I heard you do your accent.
You didn't. No, you didn't hear anything, mate. That wasn't me. We must have been interference.
Yeah, definitely. Different radio channel, wasn't it?
I think we went over the Khyber for a second there, but I didn't think much of the offer.
Yeah. And what am I looking at here? I just got sent something in the side. I've just now seen. I'm so derelict today. Sorry, super chatters. Sorry, chatters. Sorry, my boys here. This says Twinings distance themselves from Poundland's teabagging elf. Yeah, I gotta show that. I have to show that, right, Magic? I have to show
I thought you know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, tis the season. This
that
actually
was
goes
pretty
right.
good.
Yeah. So if this is actually larger than the most, but yeah, look at that. I mean, that's just. Let me reset this. Look at that guy right there. What do you think about that, chat? What do you think about that? Don't even joke. And look at the little doll. Can you see the? Can you tell the little doll down here? It's. They're not even.
Do you notice what? Do you notice what she's actually got on her top as well? I'm assuming it's girl above the power bit.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I seen power, but you're right. Probably does say girl power.
Teabagging a feminist.
Wouldn't we all do that though?
Oh well, and this is humor.
I am actually triggered though because there's no way a feminist would look like that.
They definitely wouldn't wear the leopard print skirt. Forget about that.
No, I just meant the body shape.
Yeah, the
I don't know. There's some. There's quite a few actually.
You can see
you mean the wealthy ones, Mr. Common Sense, don't you?
Yeah, champagne socialist forms of feminists. Yeah, I suppose so.
And I just put this. I just added this to my favorites so that I can find this Guido Fox. How would you say that?
Guido
Fox. Yeah, because I already like this, and you've gotten two from this source.
Yeah, it's Guido.
So when I think, Poundland, that's the equivalent to our dollar store. And of course, Poundland's where you got a pound, you do everything there. I believe is a pound, right?
Not everything, but pretty much just very cheap.
Yeah, the great contradiction of a pound store where not everything is a pound.
Yeah.
Well, we have Dollar General, and we have something called the Dollar Store. Now, the Dollar Store, everything is $1. Nothing in there is more than $1. Nothing's less. And it sounds cheap, but when you go in there and start buying a bunch of dollar stuff, it adds up, and it's all just cheap garbage anyway. But regardless, this is my problem. Why Poundland? Definitely, I can't imagine. Is Twining's tea? I mean, that's a tea. Okay, why would anyone want to distance themselves from this? Please explain that to me, boys. You're British.
It's the simple fact of it's teabagging, which obviously doesn't actually necessarily mean. Do I have to explain what teabagging means?
Yes.
No.
No. We can see it there. You don't have to do that. No, we can see it. It's right here.
But basically, remove the bag and put your own bag as men in that place.
That's the most polite way I've ever heard of it being described.
Yes, that's hilarious.
I'd love to pull a bird with that as my what's called reasoning.
Yeah, I'm going to make you a nice cup of tea tomorrow. I'm going to make sure I teabag it.
Yeah, with lots of cream in it.
I do. Well, not in it, around it.
Well, it depends if you're a good shot. Common sense.
Well, no, you never come inside. You always come outside. Anyway, I'm pulling myself into stupid directions.
Merry Christmas, everyone, from all of us here at church.
Yeah, enjoy your tea. Yeah.
No, and it's still we're saying. I still want to hear. I mean, as much as we're joking, I still want to say that. Why would you? Yes, we know the connotations, but I mean, my grandparents, they had the turtles that you flipped over, and they had the female and male genitalia. My grandpa did. They had my grandpa had a like it looked like a clown, you know, a pottery clown, but where his pants were, it was like he was peeing, and there was a cactus there, so it was a big old cactus coming out of there. Where and what's wrong with that? Why can't we have this kind of humor anymore? That is it because of Harvey Weinstein and I don't
think it's a case of that. There's always a good thing about having the instances of having the adult humor, like the old dirty pictures on the beach and things like that, as if they're not actually dirty, they're just innuendo. They're always really, really good stuff, and they're good and funny. Even though this picture is done as innuendo as it is the connotations of actually, I suppose you could say, it's not, you don't teabag somebody you love. It's more of a point of trying to point out that you don't really love the person. It's more of a one night stand thing. It's not a debilitating. It's more of a case of saying that you just don't like the person. You don't care enough about the person. And the fact that it's got girl power on it as well is it's making a political statement. It's not just coming out to say, oh yes, we're going to have the teabagging because it's funny. Look at this innuendo. It's got a political statement in it as well. But that's the point where I would see it from a commercial point of view.
Yeah,
I've got to get Mrs. Bollocks on this stream sometime.
Oh, that'd be great.
Just to so I can get common sense to ask her that very question. Does he really love you? Then he obviously hasn't teabagged you.
She's home now. She's at Mrs. Hogarth's home. Anyway,
moving on.
About me being shy. I don't know what I missed. I try to keep up in the chat, and usually I do better than I did today. But I'm almost taking the day off, man. I worked all day, and if it wasn't for Magic Bollocks, this would have been a big time shit show. It really would have. But he did all the pre-planning, did the show map. He did it all, and then carried my ass through this, and carried me and Cabbage because Cabbage's microphone was 50-50. But it worked out good to me. So I'm sorry if I missed it. I just don't know what you meant, Garbage Santa. It says because ogres. I got shy. No, I'm not shy at all. I'm not shy. In fact, not being shy has gotten me in so much trouble, man. It's just, oh my gracious. Maybe I should be a little more shy than I am. And I noticed, I look back, I think somebody got timed out tonight. I don't know why, but all I can say is thank you so much, everyone, for being as decent and as cool as you can be. But that's why everybody has a wrench, because I mean, here, if someone times you out, you may, just a hint, okay? Just a hint. I'm not being biased or anything, but if someone does time you out on this stream, you may want to look at what you said and just see if you fit in, or if what you said fit in at the very least, and you know, make a decision from there. But we welcome all opinions and ideas, and everybody's welcome here. But so very, very, very quickly, if we can, boys, because Common Sense Guy's still here. I'm shocked and I'm glad. But I kind of want to get some kind of last word out of everyone at the end. In fact, I do want the normal last word. But I kind of want to ask you boys, what is, in 1,000 words or less, what is this time of the year to you, this Yuletide season, this winter solstice, this Saturnalia, this wonderful Christmas time of the year? What does it mean to you? What is it that marks this year or makes you think of what smell, what sight, what sound, what thing?
I would let Bollocks go first on this one, and I will follow.
Oh, okay. I suppose I do like Christmas mainly because of it's such a nostalgic event and one that brings back a lot of nice memories from childhood, I think. And I do, even though I'm not the world's most generous man in terms of spending money, I still like seeing the people I bought presents for actually opening them and the reaction I get from it. That's quite a nice thing, especially if it's something I know that's either going to make them laugh or if it's something they really wanted. And it's a nicer time of the year. I think people do make more of an effort to be nicer to each other and actually will make the effort to go and see people they haven't for a while. And I think it's the idea of it. Obviously, it's, you know, originally a religious holiday, but it does tend to bring a better side out of a lot of people. I mean, some people will always hate it for whatever reasons, and you probably can't change that, but it's just a nice time of the year, really. That's why I tend to take a fair bit of time off, because I kind of just like the freedom to be at home and to enjoy it while it lasts, because it's not, I know obviously, you know, retail drags it out now and Christmas officially starts in their eyes in sort of mid-September, but
August.
Yeah,
August.
Yes.
Well,
no, but honestly,
might watch.
It's October for sure. By the time as soon as they're done wrapping up the Halloween stuff here, it's yes. But yeah, no joke. It's very commercialized. But I understand. I'm getting this vibe. So carry on with this. So it's the feeling. It's the time that you want to take some time off and kick back.
Yeah, it's just I can't quite explain it, but like there's also certain smells as well you get like this kind of year, like like the smell of nuts and the smell of tangerines and all that always reminds me of Christmas time because of obviously events in the past. Like one of the services we used to do at our local church when I was at infant school used to involve taking the tangerine into church. So I associate that with Christmas time. And yeah, I mean, even though unfortunately as a grown man, I no longer get the anxiety on Christmas Eve like I used to, you know, barely getting much sleep because you were so excited about what you were waking up to. All I wake up to now really is finding out how much of a loss I've made in terms of my investment on presents for others into what I've actually got back. And I'm normally very much in the red on that one. But I enjoy more them getting their presents because I like to think I put a lot of thought into it and a lot of surprise as well. And this year I've got a few crackers I'm looking forward to people seeing come Christmas Day. But yeah, it's just, I just think it brings the best out of good people. That's what I like about it, and I'm sure.
I know.
Sure.
Comments something to say, but crackers. So you mean you make nutcrackers?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I had this problem with Zero last week as well. What I mean by crackers is when we say I got a cracking present, it means that it's just another British slang for like brilliant or amazing.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I mean.
Oh no, when you said
Yeah.
that, I imagined you in a shop whittling like a Russian style nutcracker, you know, and
Yeah.
painting it like gold and green. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, I've just come up with some good ideas for what's called presents this year. I mean, for example, I mean, she'll never watch this, so it's not a problem. My niece asked me when I asked her what she wants for a present this year. She said originally, "Oh, get me some perfume or just boring stuff." But then she said, "Oh, how about get me a day out somewhere, you know, and I can experience." Now, I'm assuming what she meant was, say, like going to a health spa, you know, pampering, that sort of rubbish. So instead, I've got her and her boyfriend a zombie experience. And the zombie experience, yes, it's apparently it's zombie boot camp, it's called, if you're interested, Common Sense.
Is that the one where you're running away or the one where you're shooting at them?
No, this is the one where you take the army head on. They train you. Your first round is you actually take the zombies on with protective riot gear to force the army of zombies back. And then stage 2, you actually take them on inside the building and have to take out as many as you can within a allotted time limit.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
I'm looking forward to her reaction when she realizes the day out she's going to have is probably not quite what she expected.
Her boyfriend will like it.
Her boyfriend will absolutely love it. The only thing is they did offer another experience, which was an alien experience, which is basically taking on aliens as they land on Earth and try to take over or something. But that was a bit more expensive.
Zombie one's better.
Yeah, I think it probably will be. Yeah. But yes, I'm looking forward to seeing her face when she opens that and realizes what she's got.
Hey, Common Sense guy, who is this? Who is this guy right here?
What one? There's Sargon in the middle.
This is base Mama stole all the money over here. Base Mama.
Yep.
Cabbage Patch. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna put a computer by it over here. I'm gonna put a computer back here.
Is that Count Dankula right at the back of security guard?
I can't tell who that is, but this is definitely. You can see who the fat guy is in the balls.
Yep.
I mean, that's funny, right? I had to share that.
That's quite good, especially Coach Fred. But what the hell is he actually doing at the minute? God damn.
And why don't he's got to come on the show, man. I feel disrespected, and he hasn't really disrespected me, only through you. He's only disrespected you to the degree that I feel disrespected. And what do I mean by that? Well, we've had Sargon on too. We've had, and look, we could get, you know as well as I do, we could get bigger people all the time. It just, to me, if they're cool, they're cool, and sometimes it's cool. But I like the kind of folks we get, like Wild Smile and On the Offensive. And yeah, they're not tiny, but you know, I don't know. I'm not even gonna, but here we go. If he's willing to do all that and do what, then man, why can't he give back? I mean, you made some good videos. Not only is he not, look, I feel like I'm dragging it on now, and I'm not just trying to make a bunch of drama. It's fun to laugh with your mates though once in a while, isn't it? Am I totally a dick? I don't want to just be a dick. You know, we can have a little fun. I don't want to make it a total drama stream ever, Common Sense guy. But good Lord, once in a while we got to do stuff like this. It's just fun.
No, I mean, I find it absolutely funny. I mean, I was actually on one of academic agents' videos, his last video, in fact, about Coach Redfield. I was one of the tweets that he used as a character defense, because obviously I said to Coach Redfield, even though I've had my run-ins with Mr. Agent on different Twitter altercations and things like that, which are irrelevant, they're just two people disagreeing, which is the whole point of freedom of ideas. Coach Red Bull goes, oh yeah, he knew about the doxing, he knew about everything. It's like, Coach Red Bull, go away. He wouldn't do that. That's not the way the academic agent works. That's not the way he would even do anything like that. And if he was even part of it, he would have said something.
Definitely not academic agent.
Exactly. No matter what things have been said on Twitter and things like that and whatever, it's a case that we know that academic agent just would not do anything like that. And the fact that Coach Redpill just throws shit everywhere. He's like a attention-seeking monkey, and I don't mean in an appearance. I mean the ones that's in the zoo that just doesn't get anything. The little one, the little low-bearing fruit that's just like, I can't do anything. I can't fight anybody, so I'm going to throw shit at the humans so they pay me attention and take a picture.
Figures out how to smoke a cigarette, and throw poo. And man, I don't know. I was going to say something else, but you said pretty well. I'm gonna add this one thing about Coach Red Pill. I like the guy. I like his mission. I like his mission statement. I like that he's either playing a wonderful character and sticking to what he said he is, or he is what he said he is, and he's sticking to that. But man, boys, this is getting out of hand. And I'm telling you, the one that I see with behind all the money, and if she stole the money, she should, whatever. I would worry. I definitely wouldn't put her in control of any cash. Anybody, folks, that can hear me, I would definitely give you that advice. I can speak from experience. Don't do it. She's a liar and an incompetent moron at the very least. But all of these, I've got to do what I can do to protect that incompetent moron, because much like a stopped clock, even based mama's right twice a day. And I've watched
only the twice.
No, that's it. Now, dude, I've watched some of her videos, Common Sense, where she's saying she's a CIA sex operative that's being stalked by because she's got a fatwa out on her for seducing the fathers of the 5 Arab children she has from all different daddies, and then the one of the 5. This is I'm not just making this up. She put videos out on this stuff, and then talked about how she's got, I just mentioned today, 5 Audis, 5 of them, but then all these things, they're red flags. I mean, they're where you got to look and you got to say, well, this person obviously needs help. They live in a fantasy world. They want you to believe it.
Maybe we should move on
for whatever reason.
Rather than,
Oh yeah, we'll move on. Well, and that goes for a lot of these folks, man. I mean, I don't know. We can move on, but I don't know why. I mean, I think it's important to think about these things. I mean,
it's not a case of that. It's a case of, as you well know, I like it. I don't mind talking about anything. I love talking about anything. But even with Coach Redpill, there'll only be certain aspects that I'll go down to. But the bloke's not there to defend himself, so I'm not going to rip into him on how I really think and how I really feel. If the person was in front of us, fair enough. At this point in time, it's just opinion.
Well, what if you've put videos up? I mean, whatever. Anything I mentioned right now about anyone, they've actually said these things themselves.
No, I know it's not an attack or anything on. It's not an attack or anything on you or anything else like that, mate. It's just a case of.
Not to feel attacked. In fact, I think that since to be perfectly honest, I'm trying to search my mind of why, but it is obviously it's time to move on. There's no other way to say it. You said it's time to move on. It's time to move on. Let me say this before we do. If I sounded offensive or anything like that, I meant no offense. And I just would like to live in reality for Coach Red Pill, for all of them. But good point made. None of these people are here to defend themselves. So truth be told, I should be a gentleman with everyone, and give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And above all, remember chivalry, remember honor, remember dignity, and remember, respect. And those things are
above all, be British.
Amen. Amen. Cheers
second that.
Yeah. Look, I got him. This big gang on this one, on that one. No, I can't disagree with that either. It would be British. So I don't know, boys. Now that I took it off on that tangent, on all that roundabouts, long ways around the bushel, I don't care what we do. One of y'all got something else to say? I'm in no big hurry, but y'all may be. And truth be told, the only thing I care about is that everybody gets a chance to say their final piece before we part ways. So whenever that may be, somebody else got something else to say, something else to talk about. Anybody in the chat didn't get their feelings stroked the right way, or maybe got them stroked too much?
Well, in that case, then, I'm going to do my final word as quickly as possible, because I wasn't here for very long, and I haven't really got too much to say. My videos will probably be back probably on Wednesday through to New Year's Eve. I'll probably be doing videos up to that point. Not on New Year's Eve, though. So I will be doing some, but not very many. Obviously, family obligations are much better. For people in the chat that are interested, Nana is out of hospital. She was out of hospital today. She made it home, so she's all good and she's back at home and everything. So Nana's okay at this moment in time. When it comes to the new year, I'll be taking a break up to January 5th, where then me and Ogre will be doing an amazing live stream with some amazing guests, which should be very, very interesting. I'm not going to allude to too much, but most of them are people that we've had on before. So it should be very, very interesting. You'll have to watch the stream to find out who we got on, but some of them are very, very interesting. We'll give them that much. Yeah, that's basically my final word. Thank you very much.
Kick ass, man. Well, Hall ass, you sound like you got to go. Thank you so much, Common Sense. You always bring that common sense around, and you're a wonderful ray of sunlight in an otherwise darkened world.
No worries. Cheers, everybody. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Well, boys, you just got kind of an honor because you're supposed to go. Oh, and Cabbage just dropped out. I don't know if he's going to try, but if you come there, Cabbage, give it a shot, man. You got something to say for your final word? Oh, shit, man. We tried. So this is the way it'll be. We all know it's relatively sacred. I'll try not to bulldog you magic bollocks unless there's something else you want to say, some other thing you want to bring up. Once again, I'm in no big hurry, but it's drawing on. The one thing I want to remember on these days, and that's why, as I was talking about like an hour ago, I said something. I realized it was like, you know what, Magic Bollocks is so cool, and he comes on these other days when he's got a real life, and Friday is actually the day where you ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. So not trying to rush you at all. Good stories today, mate. So tell us what's going
on. Well, what would you like to know?
Honestly, the Fox. That's a British publication, obviously. Where is that? How did you get turned on to that news source?
I can't remember exactly where I found it now, but he does come up with some very, very good political stories, and he does have an interesting take on a lot of them. And he is, I think, genuinely bipartisan as well. He definitely tends to slag off the left more than the right, but that's probably because it's so easy to do it these days. But yeah, I do. That is one of the sites I frequent daily to see what's going on in the world, and I also read it because the comment section is very interesting as well. A lot of people who aren't afraid of saying their mind, shall we say, which is always refreshing. A bit like our fellow people in the chat. They're not afraid to hold back on a few comments, which is always nice.
No, we get some lively ones. So I guess since you answered that like you didn't really care and you don't have a care in the world, I'm going to have another cold one while I ask you this, and it's a little deeper question. Answer it if you want, don't if you don't. And also just say, well, okay, Mr. Ogre, I was being nice. We do our last words anytime you want, sir. But while you're considering when that may be, what is when I think of Welsh? What is the large other? I know it's a different language, okay, and I know that from RPR, I know that they're fighting that the Welsh politicians have to speak Welsh and all this. There's some things going on, but what is the difference between Welsh and English? And I mean, that's the main question that I have. If you can kind of put it in a nutshell for me, if that's possible, what does it mean to be Welsh?
I'm probably not the best person to ask because I know you and Common Sense seem to be under a slight misapprehension that I am actually Welsh myself. I live in England, but I live very close to the Welsh border, and my grandparents are Welsh, and my mother is, I think, half because she was born this side of the border. But saying that, I have frequented Wales many times. I have had several ex-girlfriends who live from that side of the pond. My current partner's surname is very Welsh, even though she's not Welsh herself. Wales is a very interesting place because the Welsh tend to either be some of the greatest people you'll ever meet with some of the best sense of humor you will ever come across, or they will be the biggest miserable bastards with the hugest chip on their shoulders you can ever come across. And I even include the Scots in that one. The Scots are just naturally angry anyway. But you'll normally only find those ones in sort of mid to North Wales, where, again, they do tend to promote their own language more than actual English, which is surprising, really, considering it's one of those languages that I consider absolutely pointless. If a language is only spoke in one single country, what's the point? And I've not met a hardline Welshman for a long time to have that argument with, and I'm glad, really. But I work with a Welshman, and he is an interesting character. He does have a bit of a chip on his shoulder, but it's more because he's only 5'2". He's got short man syndrome. So I don't think that's necessarily nationalistic, but overall, it's a very nice country. Not there is much of it. It's similar to England in the fact that Cardiff has a lot of money and a lot of money spent on it, and then the further out you go, not much money spent. But it's a very good place to go if you have got a thing for roads never being straight. The Romans invaded Britain, thousands of years ago, hundreds of years, sorry. And they gave the British straight roads. I think they must have quit when they got to the River Severn and thought, well, they probably took one look at the Welsh women and thought, fuck that, and then decided to go back home, because there isn't, not that I can think of, many Welsh roads that are particularly straight.
Well, what was your grandfather, or the most influential, and maybe you were getting to it and I shouldn't even have piped in there. What would one of the influential Welsh that say what it means to be Welsh? I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. I know they're a different people, but they are still British. So that's the question. I'm really dying to hear. And yeah, RPR Sardonic 7. I know y'all. I just want to hear from this guy.
Well, the easiest way to think about it is to think how the Scottish sort of behave in terms of, the difference between the English and the Welsh. It's like any sort of, I suppose to you, it'd be like some going over a state line. Say someone from, say, Alabama would be completely different to, say, somebody from California, wouldn't they? Because even though you're actually technically in the same country, every region's slightly different accent, slightly different behavior. But I think the Welsh, apart from obviously they have their own language, although the vast majority of them don't even speak it, the culture is exactly the same as us. They take the piss out of us, we take the piss out of them. And when it comes to things like rugby, especially, there's a big rivalry because apart from England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales are all completely useless at football. So the big rivalry there is rugby. And I can't really think of that many differences, to be honest. I mean, really, it shouldn't be, because
let's go. No, it shouldn't be, because you're country, man. And I liked the analogy. The best analogy that I've gotten from anybody so far was when you said, well, it's like when you cross state lines. Because there's the little rivalries of football teams and whatnot, like you just mentioned. But when it all comes down to it, we're all Americans. So if you can, I've got to get up for just a couple minutes. I'll be able to hear you on my Bluetooth the whole time. But I'm going to impose on you here, but I know that you're the man to do it. I want to ask you another question about what it means to be British, though. In this day and age, when things are changing so much, and we see all this. We see the Home Secretary May said the thing to do if you hear a terrorist attack is to run, yell, and tell. To run, hide, and tell is what she said. I call it run, yell, and tell. And now she's Prime Minister. And I'm not trying to just blackguard her or anyone else. But in this day and age, when things seem so different, when the SJWs are a march, when I do think back to Nelson, man, the great naval genius. I think back to a lot of my heroes are English. very strong, very intelligent people with a purpose, pragmatic, I would say. So before I suck all the wind out or put a lot of ideas in your head, tell the folks right now in your own words, what does it mean in this day and age? And I don't mean the media, what the media wants. What's your opinion of what it means or should mean to be British?
Honestly, I would say humor. That's, I think, what we do best, because I don't know if it's just because of where we've ended up in the hemisphere, that it's always pissing it down with rain. We get 5 minutes of summer each year, and we have a sort of a natural cynicism about our character. That's what keeps us going, having a good laugh at the absurdity of our lives. And I think it'd be difficult to find an Englishman, or a British person, I should say, who doesn't have an anecdote about something ridiculous that they've seen, or something incredibly stupid. I mean, I was telling you one before I came on about that accident I witnessed today. It wasn't particularly funny, but it was just so strange that the way how we came across it. And it's definitely our biggest strength, and which is why we're renowned the world over for all the comedy we've produced over the years and exported, and some of it's traveled well and far. Some of it is very much our own, that you couldn't really sell to anyone else, because the world wouldn't get it otherwise. But I think that if somebody would say to me, how do you define an Englishman? He said, normally a piss taker, a drinker, and somebody who just gets on the best way he can. They'll say that the stiff upper lip has died out, and that's old hat Englishman. I don't think it's true. I think even now, especially the working class, still put on their best effort hats and try to live their lives as good as they possibly can. And that's what I think a British person is nowadays. I keep wanting to say Englishman, but yeah, I think that's the one thing we all have in common throughout the UK. Yeah, definitely.
Well, even the Scots, whether they like it or not, in a roundabout way, they're Englishmen too. It is, I guess, a faux pas or a slip to just refer that way. I try to remember British also, but in the end, if you're from the Isle of Man, Isle of Wight, if you're from Scotland, Ireland, England, Wales, you're British. It's funny to me, because in a large way, I feel like if you're from India and you like cricket, and you anyway, there's a lot of people in India that India's British, and if it wasn't for the British Empire, India would be it'd be a lot worse than it is now. And common sense guy's not here to rein me in. I was already going off on one person. I don't want to go off on a whole country now. It's just, that was very well said. So you know what, brother, I got to get my things together, and this could go on and on and on. And if you can't tell, yeah, I'm kind of priming you sometimes, and I like you here. I like to get you talking also. I want the people out there to get to know you. Nothing, you are the first. And of course, beyond me, I get a lot of hate mail now, even to this day. It's just the way it goes. But you're the first person that's come on the crew that there's been nothing but good. And I don't know, maybe it's your lucky week or your lucky 2 weeks. I don't know if I'd say that, because basically what you've done is signed on to help out, to work on a project to where there's nothing but gratitude, really. I mean, you might get the odd present or a few quid sent your way from Common Sense Guy. That'll be between you two, and I'm sure that'll happen. But will amount to someone buying you a pint once in a while at the pub. You know what I mean? It's not going to put the children through college. But yeah, you're the first one that's happened. So it's just nice to be able to prod you a little bit and let people hear some of your ideas. They want to know anyway.
The thing is, Mr. Ogre, is that when I think I mentioned this before, that I did do a bit of stand-up back in the early noughties before. And A much wiser and more experienced comedian I met once told me that an audience can see through falseness straight away. So if you go up on stage and you pretend to be what you're not, you will fail. The audience will see right through you. They'll know that you're lying to them and that you're not real, you're not who you say you are. And even though obviously you don't know who I really am, and the people in the chat don't know who I really am, how I speak to you now is how I would speak to anyone who would ask me exactly the same question that you just asked. I would ask it totally honestly, and I would tell them the truth. And that's how I've always been. And that's how I'll always be. That's why anybody can ask me anything they want. I don't think there's anything that could trigger me. I might get annoyed by some things, but I would never, ever say I'm not going to answer that, because there's always an opinion in some way, even if I was to say that's disgusting and that's sick, but I'd still answer it. So I think that might be it. I think maybe I might be too honest for my own good, maybe.
No, that's no. No one can be that. Sometimes it hurts if you're overly honest. I am a lot of times too, but we also have to be honest with ourselves and realize that that kind of honesty and that kind of openness gives us a release that people that can't engage in that magic bollocks will never know. They'll never know it. And I got that vibe from you right away. I mean, I believe it was the second. I'll never forget the second broadcast you were on. You really touched me and a lot of other people with your openness, your honestness, with the idea. I mean, I imagine a gentleman that deals with, not to rehash or prod you on that at all. We can talk about a lot of other things, but I do think, dealing with these things, and you can take easy ways out. But I have this I built this picture of this magic bollocks in my head now. This man that has that stiff upper lip and can sometimes see that the easy way out isn't the best way, and that it's okay to suffer a wee bit as long as the end result of that suffering is not vanity. And it wouldn't mean vanity as in looking pretty. I mean, as long as it's for nothing, as long as it's not for nothing. And man, I can not only do I respect that and strive for that in myself, though I fall short often. I respect that. And we'd all learn a lesson to remember that it's okay. No one should call you a racist or a Nazi or anything like that. God forbid they call an Englishman a Nazi, or whatever, a British a Nazi. But because you love your country and you feel like there's a certain thing that you should represent, being a man from that country, that's what's wrong with our society today, in my humble opinion. We're getting to the point to where people are constantly telling us that it means nothing to be who we are. Of course, unless you're minorities, specific minorities I won't mention now. We all know who they are. It's terrible. And it's bad for them. It's who they get the worst end of the stick of anybody. But yeah, so I've imposed. I can hear you clittering and clattering. I don't know. You sound like you type very. Do you type? Can you touch type?
Oh, well, I've got my portable keyboard in front of me, so that when I occasionally see my name come up in the chat, I always try to reply if I can, because...
Yeah, no, I dig that about you.
Yeah.
It's another reason you're here.
Yeah, it's a case of I'm trying to keep everybody happy if I can do. It's the...
So can you look at me in the face while you type?
I have your face right in front of me while I look at the chat just to your right.
So you don't have to look at your hands while you type. That's what I'm asking.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's badass. I keep telling myself I'm going to learn. I can play the guitar, play the drums. I can be blindfolded while I play any of them. And so that's pretty sensitive and a lot more than just these 28 keys. And well, give or take. But I never sat down and just made myself do it. What a wonderful skill. When I hear you doing that, I can hear you, man. When I know it and we're talking and I know that I see what's going on. And I'm like, oh, man, he's fucking just BSing with me and la-di-da while he's, But it's something.
If it makes you feel any better, Mr. Ogre, is that my typing skills is not that great. I do tend to make a lot of spelling mistakes. But like you, I am or was a musician once upon a time. I haven't played for a very, very long time. But I was a drummer once upon a time, a long time ago.
All right.
Yes. So you're another musician. What's good on the stream? I honestly haven't played for maybe about 15 years. So I don't know if I'd be any good anymore if I sat in front of a kit, but
you never forget the drums. I mean, you might have to knock the dust off by having a shot of Jack Daniels and playing for about 5 or 10 minutes, but I've never went that long. In fact, I'm looking at my drum kit. I got a Sunlight set right there. I played the blues most of it. I can play anything, but I love the blues, and so I've got just a 3-piece Sunlight. 1978 Sunlight. But anyway, now I'm going to just get it. No, look, can we be friends and bros? It is interesting to learn and to meet new people and to learn about them, though. And it was, so let me ask you this: it's 15 years. When you played, did you play a 4-piece? Did you have a double bass? What did you play? What kind of music did you play?
Yeah, now that's the thing. I never actually joined a band. I would only ever practice by myself.
Oh.
And I suppose I never got to a level I was happy enough to have reached. I'm very much a perfectionist when it comes to doing anything. Like before we came on tonight, I was trying to learn how to use an animation piece of software so I could do my first video. And I've got this worry that this video is never going to come because I will never be happy with it. It's got to be, I set the bar far too high on my first attempt to ever get good at anything. I mean, I'm going to do it, but I know that I'm going to look at it and I'm just going to shake my head and say, nah, that's terrible. And you'll probably have to literally twist my arm to get it out, and you'll probably like it, and the people will probably like it, but I'll forever shake my head and said, no, that's not good enough. Like I said, I'm my own hardest critic. Doesn't matter what anybody out there can slag me off if they want to, but honestly, I give myself the biggest thrashing when it comes to whether my quality is good enough.
Well, we got to be our own way. Some people look at us and think we're crazy because I'm the same way, And for those of you that care to hear, yeah, we were talking the other day, and apparently, Magic Bollocks and I are a lot alike. I've been doing this for a year. I've not done one stream that I haven't listened to. Now, it's playing in my Bluetooth while I'm doing my farming and stuff, so I'm not saying I'm analyzing it all, but I'm listening very carefully to especially myself. Because how else do we know if we're doing something good, bad, and different? You got to listen, man. You got to hear what you're doing. We were talking, in fact, I don't even want to, what we were talking about the other day about things that we do and interject. It's best for us not to talk about it or mention, because I've already want to do it now. It's these little habits that we have, things that we do that we don't notice when we're at the pub with our mates. But, the fact about even now that we're going off the rails, folks, it's Christmas, humor us. No, it's still a show. We still know people are watching us. And it's just a touch different than just being at the pub with your mates. You don't want to do the little things that you do and interject the words that maybe one interjects and the sounds and the facial mechanics for me, because I'm on this camera, and I got some weird twitches that I didn't really realize before. I haven't gotten over all of them, but I still see, like I said, I shouldn't talk about it all. But there's things I do with my hand, and I can't seem to quit fiddling with my beard like some schoolgirl that just met her crush, It's like, why do you keep touching your face, Ogre? I watch it later. I'm like, why are you doing that, dude? Quit touching your freaking beard. So I've got it all knotted up today. That's because I have owl shit in it. I didn't want it to get everywhere.
That's a confession and a half, that, Mr. Ogre.
No, I told you, my well pump. It just the joys of being a homeowner and farm owner and running a farm and being a Jew to boot that won't spend the money to get any professional to come out and look at anything. In the end, because of all those things, I will go to bed without a shower tonight. And I like showers. I like my shower at night. And in the morning, I like it in the morning. And a lot of times I take a bath at noon. If I have enough time at a break, I'll run a hot bath. I got a big bathtub, and I'll just throw some Epsom salt in there, and I'll lay back in that sucker about 15 minutes, wash and brush up. It makes a body feel good. I mean, me anyway. It's like, wow, it's like a rejuvenating, boom, a new lease on life. Better than a cup of coffee. And now, man, the water being gone, boy, I'm dying. So Al Spunk or shit. No, Al shit, JJ Soda Rock. Owl shit. It's just a joke. It's just because I've been working all day and I'm out in the cold and my breath freezes and all my sweat and breath gets in my beard. And right now, I've got it tied up like this, boys and girls, because it smells funny. It smells like, smells funny. It smells like a sweaty, breathy beard. And I can't just go wash it off like I'd like to. hey, and I played football when I was a kid, American and the right kind. And you know what a jock strap smells like. You know what your socks smell like after you throw them in your you throw them in your locker, but you already wore them for about 7 practices and you forgot about them socks. And then you go get them because you see it's the bottom of your locker, and then you smell those socks after being there stewing in the juices plus 7 practices and all that. And that's kind of what my beard smells like right now.
Well, one thing they can never accuse you of, Mr. Ogre, is lack of honesty there.
In vino veritas, my brother. In vino veritas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. Yep, I heard the yawn. We're done.
No, that was more of a stretch than anything else. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not worried.
It's Friday night. What's good? I've got plenty of what's good life left in me yet.
Well then, Lord have mercy, just for you, because I don't care. We're already so close that we're never going to break the 3 hours. So at this point, it really don't matter, because if I didn't stop it before, and it's all got to do with the algorithm. I'll tell you all about it. I'm going to say a couple things. You're very good for me. The only reason, if anybody cared about the video I just did, and I did get a bunch of views on it, I know why. Nobody's used to me doing them. Once I do them again, it will help. But if anybody appreciated that, thank Magic Bollocks. And thank him for many things, but thank him for this, because he is the kind of guy that you have a way about you that wasn't even ready to do that or anything, but it's the way it went down. And I'm not sure if in your mind you were like, I'd like to get Ogre to do a video. In fact, and I really don't think you did. But what ended up happening is because of your way of communication. Anyway, if you'd like the video and if you appreciated it, thank Magic Bollocks. And then I will be doing 3 a week for the foreseeable future. And why? We want to promote the channel. We do want a few more people. I like it just like this, folks. It's 13 now, man. I like it somewhere between 15 and 25. So in other words, 13. Go tell your friends. A couple more people in here. But what I do, and Magic Bollocks, that might sound like low numbers, but man, I follow streams now, and I won't name them because it might sound bad to them. But I follow streams now that I love and I watch often, that have been on as long or longer than me in some cases, that have 3, 4 people as average. It'd be shocking if they got double digits. If 10 people were there, they would be the first ones to be shocked. I realize that I am in this. I'm not so much in the skeptic community. I'm in that community. But I don't know, between you and the common sense guy, I think you're my age too, but you seem younger than common sense. You seem like some kind of not loud bolsterer, but I mean, you seem like a go-getter, like ambitious is the word I'm looking for.
Well, I'm not sure how old Common Sense is, but I actually think I'm older than him. I'm not sure.
He's 30, I'm in my 28, 30,
yes, I am older. I'm actually closer to 40. So, yes, I'm probably closer to you, Mr. Ogre, than I am to Common Sense. But he does seem to have a wisdom about him that's a bit beyond his actual years, doesn't he?
And I like you. I know you're new here. I'm not just saying, but man, I tell you, he's second to none. I'm not trying to hate it because you're here and you're my only other guest, co-host. But fact of the matter is, he's better than me. I mean, the guy there's something about that guy. He's got a down-home way about him. And he's kind of sometimes self-deprecating. He cracks jokes on himself, and he says sorry a lot when I don't know why he's even saying sorry, but it's just something about that guy. And I think you said it best. The down-home wisdom about him. Oh, man, now I'm going to go off and gloat about I love the guy. I really do. I mean, I have an honest-to-goodness feeling in my heart for him. And that's unusual for me. It's just not a normal thing. I mean, I like you and all, and I like a lot of people here, but it's very, very rare that I actually feel something. The other day, man, when he didn't come, the last stream we did, wasn't because of the stream, but that is the first time that happened. And I found out, I think he actually told everybody. He did. He took a sleeping pill, man, because he's got fibromyalgia. He's got a couple issues he tries to deal with. He's just trying to escape that. He's tough as a coffin nail. The guy's been on the stream with a a migraine headache, and well, I won't even go into that. That's a little gross. But he was doing things on the side when I was there with him talking and stuff, and the guy's car was coughing now. But he took this thing to get away from that, and he went, "But man, I'm telling you the truth, Magic Bollocks. I don't know if you could tell. You probably could. I was legitimately worried about him, man. I was like, oh man, what the fuck? I don't want anything. I like the guy, dude. Oh, that was long. That's how weird I am. It's so hard for me to say that. In the end, I don't know if you feel this way, man, and I don't want to be a doom and gloomer. It's Christmas, and I think we should all shy away from this kind of thing, but don't human beings more or less just let us down?
Sort of. It depends on what you expect of them, Mr. Ogre. I mean, yeah, I've had a few people I feel have fucked me over in the past, but I try to take the attitude of something we've talked about before, which is if you don't ever make a mistake, how can you learn from it? And the idea being, when these people do these things to you, it just gives you more wisdom, so you know how not to be fucked over in the future, because you know to look for things you were unaware of before. So in all these negatives, there's always a positive. And every time somebody's, you know, maybe done something to you, maybe like a person you might have mentioned earlier on, fucked you over, you now know how that person did it, and so you probably won't make that same mistake again, will you? So don't you think that makes you a more rounded and better person?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And well, and even then, I did get off the rails on. I think I know what you're talking about, and I won't even go back there because common sense, rightly, was like, you know, we're not going to go into a bunch of drama. I don't want to, but yes, not only that, I have a rule that I stuck with then, and I always will. I would never give anybody something, because I don't want to sound like a martyr, you know, or anything. I would never give anybody something or loan anybody something, which this was a gift. It was a gift. In fact, it was payment. She got Razor Fist on. I paid her for it. I was the first to say that. It just the way it went down the day after was a little strange, but like I'm saying, man, look, hey, 'tis the season to do this, Magic Bollocks. I have to put myself in her position, in her shoes.
You still on?
Yeah, Mrs. Ogre. She's wondering. Yeah, it's been going. You come in now if you want, baby.
Oh, Mrs. Ogre. My Christmas is now complete.
In fact, hang on. Let me take these off, because hopefully it won't be echoey or anything. But I'll make a little adjustment here so she can hear y'all too. She'll have to shout if she says anything. And yes, Mrs. Ogre, we're wrapping it up here relatively quickly, but I said that about 2 hours ago, hour ago, so you never know. Are you there?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, hang on. We will be able to. I can hear you still, but I don't think she can. We'll be able to. Let me do one more thing here. Now, I think.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, there you are.
Hello, Mrs. Ogre.
How
are you?
I'm good.
Ah, great mind think alike.
Oh, you two are so much alike. I can't even remember what we were talking about earlier, but you keep saying things, and it's like I feel like I'm, and I don't mean this in a gay way or mean it to emasculate you, but it's like you say things that remind me of Mrs. Ogre quite often. You and her.
Now, that is a little worrying. I don't think I've ever said to you, "Come to bed, darling."
No. And no, don't even think that.
But it's magical when I do say it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pun, Magic Bollocks, and all that.
I like their puns. They're very good.
No, they stink, but I have a cheesy sense of humor, so I don't really care.
Yeah, we're working on I'm gonna get it set up. I keep saying it. I'm just gonna get it one day when Mrs. Ogre least expects it, and I haven't blown money on anything dumb. And yes, Mrs. Ogre, Mose, I don't think she can see it from back there. Mose, Matt Barkley, 058, Mr. Quinn, all say hi, hello. Susie Monkey says hello.
Hi, everyone.
Everyone is saying hello. So hello. Everyone. We should have been long gone, but we're here for you on this pre-Christmas.
I've actually got a good idea what Mrs. Ogre could do on the stream. She could be our weather girl.
Scorche, scorche, scorche.
Yeah. Give her the pointy stick as well.
The pointy. Ooh, I want the pointy stick.
She got it better than that. She got the
yeah.
She got the whoop ass stick.
Yeah.
Now that is an interesting way of telling the weather.
Pointy stick.
That's sort of like saying it's going to be sunny today, and if you don't believe me, I'm going to beat the shit out of you with this.
Right.
You don't? Do you remember Do you remember the Fast show? The Fast.
I
show?
do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. When you said weather girl, that's what I thought about.
Scorchio.
Scorchio. Scorchio. God, that was anyway. She could do it. She
shirts and a push-up bra.
No, a
right?
bikini.
Oh, a bikini. Okay.
Tea-bag.
Yeah, I could pull one of those off.
Tea-bag. She can.
See, Mrs. Ogre has got that level of innocence about her. She can get away with anything.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh, you could stand in front of any jury, even if you just butchered 17 blokes, and they'd still think you were totally innocent.
No, that's probably true. That's
probably true.
That's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on, which bit? What, that she's butchered 17 blokes?
Oh, yeah. All of it.
Oh, no wonder you need so much ground.
And no, Mrs. Ogre is eating a Nissan cup of noodles. Cup of noodles.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your equivalent of like our pot noodle, is it?
Pardon me, sir?
I said that's your equivalent of what we call a pot noodle, which ironically is made in Wales.
Oh, pot noodles suck.
What's pot noodles?
They suck.
What are they?
They're similar, but they got like a thicker sauce. They're more curry.
Oh, curry?
Well, they're not all flavored curry, but pot noodles are different. They really are. Ramen noodles and those cup of noodles that's what Yanks would be used to.
Can we get those here?
Now, Mr. Ogre,
Noodles here?
you will now be absolutely despised in Wales, because that is probably their current claim to fame is that's where they come from. In fact, I'll have to show you a video that's on YouTube. It was an advert that used to be on in the UK about 10 years ago about the Welsh pot noodle miners, where they're claiming that the former coal miners were now going underground to mine the pot noodles. It was absolutely brilliant, even though the Welsh themselves thought it was terrible and was taking the piss. Well, it was, and it was funny. Susie Monkey. Not so big on the beef. It tastes a bit synthetic. I think you'll find the old chicken and mushrooms the best flavor. Mr. Ogre, we cannot hear you at the moment, sir. I think you might have muted yourself.
Yeah, I damn sure did. It's because I unplugged it to do this and then thought, oh, it's just not working. So you can hear me now, right?
I can hear you perfectly.
I mean, it might sound a little distant, but if I do this, at least everybody will be able to kind of hear us both. I'm working on it, man. We're just both Jews, and we always think, we're getting older. We ain't got no kids. Every dime we spend, we won't have later, So
I'm not so sure you two are Jews. I can't see any horns.
No, she's not. She's worse than that. She's Irish. It's Irish Scottish.
Okay.
Right.
In fact, I'm sorry.
That would explain it then.
We looked it up. She's something like that. She's
English,
red hair.
Irish, and Dutch.
Yeah, she's Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
That's old English, man. It's like come from a lawyerly family.
Yeah.
Mm.
We don't have any of the money, but
Yeah, but that sort of explains why she's got that sort of vixen look about her, hasn't she?
Vixen.
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 You gotta admire her.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's good now? Over to the weather with Vixen Ogre.
Hey, I had a dog named Vixen once, man. She got poisoned by the neighbors. No shit. I'm not even kidding.
Right. That's probably not a good idea to give cool Mrs. Ogre.
I told you about that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Terrible.
You should have poisoned the neighbors.
I should have poisoned the neighbors. I was very young. I'd have got away with it. Well, I mean, even if I didn't, it wouldn't have mattered because I was like 7. I would have poisoned them bastards too for killing my dog.
What kind of dicks poison their
Yes.
dog?
Well,
I'm glad this isn't actually an admission, seeing this is going on YouTube.
Yeah. You want Mrs. Ogre to come on? Look what a train wreck you turned this into. What the hell? Right, just like that.
Sorry, not really.
No, I quite like trying to chat up my mate's missus. You know, very often. You know.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell that about you. You're quite good at it.
Well, now
Yeah, that's why I
was on. Mr. Ogre would chat her up too. So.
Yeah.
Well, he's welcome to try. I've been trying for 7 years and got nowhere.
Oh man, somebody agrees with you, Mrs. Ogre, but I have no idea about what. Jensen Quinn agrees with you.
Oh, what do you agree with me about?
And Mo says the mic doesn't matter. He's just someone's just looking at you. Someone's ogling you right now like a perv.
Right, basically, you've just turned it into a soft porn channel, haven't you?
Don't do that. No.
Well, stop. You want your channel to be
no,
popular.
and everybody's being
Actually, Mrs. Ogre, now you're here, I can ask you a question that I asked Mr. Ogre earlier on.
Okay.
We were talking about sex robots earlier on.
Well, I'll pull the story up too. I'll pull
Sex
it up.
robot.
Yes,
Yeah, big time.
sex robots. Yes, they're growing in popularity all over the world thanks to the Chinese. And I did ask him, how would you feel if you came home and right next to your lovely dog, you happen to see this plastic thing with enormous tits, a huge ass, and a 10-year-old's face?
Now, what's happening? And is it just sitting there, or am I humping it? I wonder. What is the question? If she just comes,
Well, I'd like to think you were having a conversation with it, Mr. Ogre, since they can talk. Apparently,
They can talk.
Yeah, they can talk. So it's just
they can talk. Yes.
That is creepy and weird, and I think I would have to take that thing out and throw it in our furnace.
Well, if it was Chinese, I should imagine the only thing it will say is, "Can I take order?"
Yeah, I think I would be mildly disgusted by that. Yeah.
But what if it could actually do the chores?
Well, if that's all it would do, then that would be fine. But you know, the other stuff, no.
Yeah.
I mean, are people actually like? I mean, people do that.
Oh yes.
They hump these robots.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, these are sex robots. These are sex bots.
And they've actually given it orientation, haven't they? Which is digisexual.
Yeah, but remember, you brought something up, and I said we were going to talk about it, but sometimes stories got shut down in the past, but apparently now they don't. So, and it is what it is. But you said there was a robot. Remember, there's something where you can go. There's a brothel.
What?
Tell her, man. Magic ball.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
There's a robot brothel.
A robot.
Oh yes, the one in China. Yes, they what they do is you can book a slot with the one of the robots on an app that you can download to your phone.
Yeah.
And you get half an hour slots. And did I say that right? Slots. And
Yeah.
and what they do is once the current patron has finished whatever he chooses to do, the robots have a detachable vagina which can be whipped out and replaced with a nice fresh one for the next client.
Well,
So it is literally a 10-second change.
That's pretty. I mean, I gotta say, from a healthcare standpoint, that would be really good as far as stopping the spread of disease. And I mean, I personally don't think that anything like that should be illegal. I find it weird and kind of gross myself, but people do it and they're gonna do it. So, yeah, I mean, I guess as far as that's concerned, it would be great for stopping the spread of STDs.
Well, okay, let's imagine another scenario. Okay, say one of Mr. Ogre's friends comes round, and he's been single for quite a while, and he says, "Oh, I'm coming round, and I'm bringing Susie with me." And you think, great, he's found himself a nice lady. Great, maybe they'll get married, have children. and he comes in with a sack truck, and you think, what's that for? With like shrink wrapped, and he said, "Can I borrow a knife?"
What? Can you say that again?
Well, I'm just say you're expecting him to walk into your house,
Yes,
with a lady, but instead he comes in with like a sack truck with something loaded on it that's wrapped.
Okay. Yes.
And you say, what have you got there? And he says, "Can I borrow a knife?" So you give him a knife, and he unwraps his lady friend.
Okay.
Says, "This is Susie," and he presses the button on the back of her neck, and she says, "Hello, Mrs. Oga." Would you be able to accept this thing that he's just ordered as his lover, or would you actually be taking him to one side and saying, "No offense, mate, but you're a fucking freak"?
No, I would tell him, "You're a freaking weirdo." I would tell him you're a weirdo. I'd be like, "You need to keep Susie at home. You're welcome in my house, but Susie's kind of weird, so you can't bring her over anymore."
I would be on the same page,
but
though.
Each to their own. I mean, if that's what he wants, that's fine. But yes, I would tell him, "Dude, you are a weirdo."
Look, I'll just put it this way. If we had a good friend come over right now that we known for a long time, and they like brought a bottle of liquor with them and some food, was like, "Hey, been a while." It was like, "Oh, come in." And then after like 10 minutes, they opened up a little thing and had some crack cocaine in it and broke out their crack vial, their crack pipe. We would be like, "Hey, you could put that back up and hang out, but you can't smoke." You see what I mean? So I'm just saying there's some things we just don't dig.
Right.
And it would just so happen to be that, "Oh, hello, I am his date tonight" would be one of those things that we just wouldn't dig.
Yeah, I would never stop being friends with someone over that, because that's their business. But I would don't bring it to my house.
Man, yeah, don't bring. That's what was my point. Don't bring it.
But as another example, what happens if Susie suddenly said, "Mr. Ogre, I see you have trouble with your well. Do you want me to sort the problem?" And she went out there and she got the well working.
Own it.
Have at it there, lady robot.
Would you then start to
working on the well all damn day? If they wanted,
Would you then warm to Susie a bit more?
No.
So even if she was able to do the shittiest of chores, and she would not impress you because she is just basically a tarted up fuck doll.
That's right.
Yeah, no.
That's all that is.
That's it.
Yeah.
That'll never be to me. Tarted up doll.
Okay. This is going to be a very hard sell to you too, I think.
Well, and I'm fine with it, but
I didn't know you were selling them.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Is this a new line of work?
No, what I'm trying to say is if they you do realize eventually once the SJWs are finished with the trannies and they've done the pedos and the and the necrophilia and everything else, they will then be moving on to liberating oppressed sex robots, aren't they? So if people are bringing them around as guests and you're rejecting them, then you are going to be digiphobic.
That's fine. I'll be whatever kind of phobe they want to call me. This is my house. I get to say what goes on here.
But you see, they'll say, well, that's what they used to say to blacks in the 60s and the 50s. They didn't want them in their homes. And now that's not acceptable.
I don't care.
Oh, dear. I think I might have opened a potential future can of worms here for a lot of people.
Maybe for a lot of people. I people can call me a phobe if they want. And I guess about some things, yes, I would be I would be a digiphobe if that's what they want to call me, and that's fine. I'll own it.
No, it's not fun because you're not a phobe.
I don't care.
You don't have an unreasonable fear. No, I hate that word. You know why I hate it.
I know why you hate it. Because it's ridiculous and it's overused. It's used incorrectly.
Well, yeah, and phobia is an unreasonable, irrational fear that you can't overcome or can't escape. No, I don't even have children of my own. I don't want women in the men's room. Period. I don't care what you want to bring it to me as. And yeah, I'm using that side of the argument because whatever. Say, oh, some dude's going to come and piss by my little girl. Yeah, that's part of the problem. But I also don't want women in the men's room. Now, they do shit different in Germany and France. And I know they just shit on the street over there, man. They don't even care. They just piss right on the building or whatever, drop their drawers and take a dump in front of the nightclub. We don't do that here.
Ew.
We just don't do that in
What
America.
what would you accept robotic Susie in the men's room, Mr. Ogre?
No. Why the hell would she be there?
Because she's transitioning.
To what? You see why I love
She's
this guy?
bought her. Yeah, she's gone and bought herself a attachment strap on, and she now wants to be known as Stuart.
Who makes the decision for Susie? I mean, does she think on her own, or I mean, how is I don't get it.
No, she just wants to be your friend, Mrs. Ogre.
Did Susie originally, when she was created a woman, did she really just feel like a man robot?
No, I'm assuming when she was originally built, the idea was she was just going to be a female, a companion and lover to some very sad gentleman. But with SJW logic, eventually she will decide that, and because gender is obviously fluid these days, she doesn't want to be a robot anymore. That's being called a robot is very prejudiced, and she's binary. Yeah, so she's not a sex robot anymore. Tomorrow she might want to be a kettle, and then on Tuesday she might want to be a washing machine.
No,
and then on
something more useful. Yes.
Not a kettle.
So
a kettle.
Yeah.
A kettle.
So yeah. So I just like to say now that robotics is non-binary.
What is it? Is it single? It's right. It's mono. It's not binary because it's mono.
Yeah, it's mono.
Yeah.
Binary.
Binary.
No, it's singular. It's singular.
Singular.
It's singular.
Yeah.
Hey, Magic Bollocks. Will you say kettle again?
Kettle.
That's good. Kettle. No, he says the T's.
A kettle, governor. Yeah, you do. So you say
I do apologize for using the word correctly.
I love it. It's great.
Hey, say what's that metal that's very lightweight and silver in color?
What, you mean aluminium?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yes.
So when you
aluminium.
There's something we have here. It's theory. So when you have a problem between two people, oh man, I don't know how to get him to say this word as easy as the last one. How would you say controversy?
Controversy.
Oh, that's how you would say it?
How would you say it? How you say it?
Controversy.
Controversy.
How about how would you say a word where you have a plan for the day? Say a list of things you're going to do.
A schedule.
A schedule.
I'd say schedule, sir.
You would not.
Schedule. Yeah.
It's not though. It's a schedule.
Yeah, well, and the funny thing is, the only problem is with us is that it's bloody hard to argue with you on how to pronounce a bloody English word now, isn't it, mate?
Well, it's the clues in the name of the language, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Because we don't speak English over here. We speak American.
You do, and you do it very badly.
With a capital M, American.
No, we do it well.
We do it the
well,
best.
what you've done, you've taken something that was absolutely perfect and you broke it down to its absolute basic Neanderthal best, really.
It's Slanglish.
Hey, Mrs. Ogre, we've waited until all the losers and whatnot are gone, and it's just our core people here. Like the hardcore. It's true. All the hardcore are left. It's like our really core group, the core of the core, even. So just because I never asked you online, and you can't like our president because he's a raper and all that, and he hates women.
I can't like him.
No,
he's a digiphobe as well.
He's a digiphobe.
Wow.
He's a xenophobe. Yeah. He's actually
he's a racist.
He's homophobic. He's
homophobe.
Did I say xenophobic? He's all those things. So what I'm saying, baby, is I just got a question. Do you hate? Why do you hate the president? And why is he such a filthy, perverted piece of garbage?
Well, I don't have an answer for that because I don't hate him. I think he's a stud.
You do?
Yeah.
Really?
Not like, I mean, not like I'm attracted to him like he's a stud, but he's a total alpha male. And it's about time.
Oh, definitely.
He had an alpha male as a president and not some little faggot. Sorry. I know that's not politically correct.
I know what she's trying to say. He's trying to say a non-cuck.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, how could you vote for him whenever all those girls accused him of fondling them?
Because I think those girls are liars.
They're all liars?
Yeah.
She don't listen and believe?
Uh-uh.
Why not? But you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You filthy.
And I would never accuse someone falsely.
You sexist.
And if I were going to accuse someone, I wouldn't wait 15 years. I would punch them in the face, and then I would go either prosecute them, or I would tell them, if you touch me again, I'll punch you in the balls. That seems fair to me.
They don't want to hear that.
I'm sorry to say, Mrs. Ogre, there goes your Hollywood career then.
I know, dang it. And I was so looking forward to that shallow existence.
Oh, Mrs. Ogre's.
I don't know. I could easily see you as sort of like the new sort of what's her name? What's that really stick thin one that's married to Brad Pitt?
She gets that all the time.
Jolie.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie.
Ew.
Actually, thinking about that, I think Mrs. Ogre would make
a little bit.
I think Mrs. Ogre would make a fantastic Lara Croft. Actually.
Yeah, she would, because she's way better looking than that ugly
Croft, yeah.
I never.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie, and I ain't saying it because my lady's here. I'm attracted to some women, and she knows that. But that's not one of them.
I'm sorry, but I think she's kind of skanky looking.
She's nasty. And then.
Yeah, I don't mean you look like her, Mrs. Ogre. I can tell you're a real woman over there.
Thank you. I don't want.
You're all woman, aren't you?
Well, except she paid for her boobies. They're fake.
I did not.
No.
Really? Well, is only one way to find out.
No, I don't even know why I said that. I just tried to embarrass
her. Oh, these are all mine.
They're
the little bit that there is.
Oh, they're not.
Yeah.
She's got nice boobies.
I don't want big hooters.
She don't have little boobies.
They sag.
Oh, I do. I do.
You want big hooters? There's a way to get them.
No, I'd like you to have them, Mrs. Ogre.
Oh no.
I think me and Mr. Ogre could make some serious money out of this.
Now, Mrs. Ogre's boobies have looked the same for the last 24 years unsheathed, and I'm fine with that. I don't.
You make him sound like she puts him in a sock.
Well, it's the boulder holder thing she uses.
Yeah, the bois.
I think the Swedish call them stop them from flopping.
Oh, okay.
All right, isn't that it?
I would have thought these days it'd be called "Stop the Islam from Flopping."
Well, I think that's and then the German is keeps them from flopping, I believe.
Is that what it is?
Keeps them from flopping, yeah.
Yeah, I have. It's been a while. I'm not too brushed up on my foreign languages. Well, I don't know, mate. I did drag Mrs. Ogre on just for you tonight, because I know that you like her, you pervert. And no, it's good to get.
She started this. She's the one who sent you a text message saying, "Hello, little magic bollocks." Yeah, I had my suspicions at that point. I thought I'll play hard to get.
Quite a name you picked. You got to admit, that's quite a handle you got.
It's great.
Yeah, if only I could admit this to people in real life. You see, I might get asked, can I prove it? They probably think magic bollocks means I can make them disappear or something.
When if it's cold enough.
In cold weather, yeah. I'm sure they disappear.
But if you kick me hard enough, I'm sure I can.
Yeah, they crawl right back up. Crawl right back up in there. Vanish like a fart. Yeah, anyway, Hollywood hype over, so you have a lot of back. So a lot of people are saying you have a lot of back, Mrs. Ogre, and they can't even see your booty. She does have a very big
I have
booty.
a lot of back. You mean like backbone?
Oh,
Spine?
maybe. I don't know. Moe's unshaved ogres of Viking. I'm just looking. People were
You're a Viking.
People were commenting on you. How do you spell Mexican ogre? Where is that? Oh, American. Oh, you got it there, Moe's. It's Merican, capital. But you got to put a comma, before the, before the word, because you are leaving out.
That's right.
So you comma.
It's got to be.
I'm a bit unsettled by what memes of destruction has put. He's put she started and bollocks finishes. I said, well, that's normally how it happens, mate.
That's exactly.
Exactly. I hate to go
That's exactly what happened.
I thought we were dealing with some older people than that, but apparently we have.
I was going to say, if it didn't, I don't think any of us would be here.
We got to go straight back to the old days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to work on some things. I tell you, I just realized that and the problem is my microphone, I can't get on. I'm trying to figure out with 2 mics, but I don't have a choice. I've got to get a red box, a fire flare, whatever you call it, fire wire, to where I can it's a USB interface.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm gonna do it, man. Mrs. Ogre is a lot of fun too. I mean, let's face it, she can't always come to the boys' club, but she could once in a while. And when we did allow her, it'd be nice if we could hear her and you could hear me. It's got to sound a little funny right now for my voice. I'm 3 feet away from it, not even nearly pointing toward the microphone. So anyway, all this is to say that, I'm about ready to be out of here. And I'm not letting you off the hook without your final word. Mrs. Ogre, she's such a greenhorn. She has no final word. I'll give hers. And you know what, Mose? I like you too, dude. It's good to have you here. Captain Copile, it's not my final word, but if you'll allow me just a moment here, Magic Bollocks. Matt Barkley, 058, JJ Soda Rock, big spender tonight. Thank you so much also as I go through this. I know I said Captain Copile, but you're very important. Captain Copile, Memes of Destruction, all of you people, Jensen Quinn.
Hi, Captain Copile.
Say it again.
Hi, Captain. Captain Copile, hi. How are you?
There's another person, Susie Monkey, Sardonic 7, RPR, The Finer Print, Max Bear, man, Cabbage Patch Bastard, I could hardly spit it out, Mad Dodge Productions. Oh, the list goes on so long. Hopefully I've mentioned everyone that's here right now listening. If I didn't, Loafer, of course, Sheffield, good to have you here. Not only do I wish you a Merry Christmas, but I hope that maybe we do grow together. Again, I'm not going to put this in my final word because I'm not a very commercial kind of guy. It's difficult for me. But, Magic Bollocks, just put a little fire under me. And, all this time I've been on here, I should be doing more for the people that do so much for me, like Magic Bollocks, and especially the Common Sense guy. And, Magic Bollocks, you'll catch up, and I won't be able to say especially anymore. I'll just say both your names. But until then, I feel like I do owe them a little more than I've been giving them. And more than that, I owe you a lot more than I've been giving you. And I enjoy the live streams. This is the fun part for me. This is the part where I don't do a lot of research. I get together some news stories. I get together with some funny, intelligent mates, and we banter. We talk trash. We chin wag. We have a good time, and it's not really work. But that's it. I will be doing this video tomorrow. I'm sorry, it's Sunday, and then I will be doing it three a week. And no, I'm not because I'm narcissistic. Just for what I said. We'd like to grow it a little bit. So I don't usually ask this. And I did want to throw it in my last word, as I said now 5 times. I feel a little strange about this, Magic Bollocks. This is almost harder than asking for money, which I do from time to time. But if you haven't, share this with some people. If this is something that you enjoy, wouldn't break my heart if you told your friends on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you go and talk to people and let them know that this is fun, that we do have a new crew member named Magic Bollocks, and he is kind of funny. He does have that dry English wit that makes us all laugh right down in our guts. And we do have that sensitive feller, common sense guy that really does care about you. Even you that he don't know. He's a very caring fella. It's hard for me to grasp, but he is. And then, of course, you got me, and I ain't got much to say about that. So, you know, if you haven't, or if you did already, I don't do it again. Share this, like it. You know, and I'm telling you, it feels a little weird. Who's heard me ask that, but I'm going to ask now. Like it. Help with our algorithm. That's the best thing you can do to help us further this thing, is to like and share it. And share it from here. You know, click the share button here and share it to the platform. You know, the list will come up. Share it to whatever platform you care to from there. It just, you know, it furthers it. More people will watch. Why? I don't think that Magic Bollocks wants that because he's narcissistic either. I think that he's come on board here and that he looks at this, and I'm not speaking for you, brother. If you disagree with this, you're, of course, more than welcome to say you got it absolutely wrong, Mr. Ogre. But I think he's come on here and he sees that there is a platform here that could be expanded and that there is something to be said for a diversity of ideas, and that it before it dies out, that maybe we should take the best advantage of it. So that was my long way around to say, unless you want to flirt with my wife a little bit more, we'll wrap her up and call her a night, big guy.
Did you say you're going to wrap her up?
I knew it. I'm going to put it down so you can see her. I have to go and take care of nature for a couple minutes anyway. So if you care to.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say, I was going to suggest doing the opposite and unwrap her.
What a pervert.
Well, he keeps accusing me of being Welsh, and Welsh people have no inhibitions, so I'm just acting like they think I am. That's fine.
No inhibitions at all, huh?
Well, they are basically the lowest of the pile, I'm afraid, Mrs. Ogre.
That's
there
awesome.
might be some in the chat, and I really don't care.
Supposedly, I'm part Welsh. I don't know.
Are you?
Supposedly, that's what my grandpa told me. We'll see.
Oh.
I want to do the ancestry thing and find out.
This trouble with that, Mrs. Ogre. Sometimes you tend to dig up things that you didn't want to find out. Like, can you imagine that little girl, you know, who's come from quite a fairly wealthy background, and you know she's got a good job and a good husband and kids, and everything's going fine. She decides to do a bit of genealogy. And she goes and finds out she's a descendant of Adolf Hitler.
I really wouldn't care. It wouldn't bother me at all.
Yes. Well, actually, what's good, his last living relative, she actually sterilized herself to make sure she couldn't carry on the bloodline.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what her name. I can remember reading it a few years back, but yeah, she was absolutely adamant that what's called bloodline must not carry on, because apparently if it did, he would be reborn one day somehow.
Oh wow, that's extreme for sure.
I think what the truth of it was, she was just somebody who didn't want kids but didn't want to admit it. Oh yeah, I got Hitler's genes, I can't have a baby. Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe so. See, I just didn't want kids, so I took care of that, period. It has nothing to do with my ancestry.
Ah, yeah, but you didn't come up with you couldn't say that, I think you'll find that, like, Pinochet was my great-great-great-great-grandfather or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's in the list of, potential bad excuses, isn't it?
I would say that, yes. Of very
looking dashing, Mr. Ogre.
Excuses.
Ha! My pea coat.
Yeah, doesn't he look nice? I bought that for him.
Yeah, she did. Wool.
Very nice.
Nice wool. 3/4 top. I love it. It's just comfy. And I'm going to go check the fire in a minute. No, that's it. That's
checked it.
Oh, you
There's
did?
lots of wood left in there.
Oh.
Okay.
No, so I just sent Susie.
That's right. Does Susie have a key in her back, like one of those wind-up toys?
I wonder where that was going then for a second. If she got one shaped like a key lock.
I don't want to know about that.
Doesn't matter. You can change it anyway.
Remember the Energizer commercial from the 90s where they had the batteries in some of them. It was a play on the Energizer Bunny. In fact, it was Duracell. Anyway, they accidentally didn't put the right battery in the back of their loudmouth neighbor. And she runs down and like face down in the soup and they all start laughing. And man, you know, thinking back on that commercial, they murdered her and it was funny. I mean,
oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, that was way out. I'm probably the only one that got that. It's late. Can you believe
actually,
Magic Bollocks? We just let this thing go off the rails. It's just now 3 people here bullshitting, no show whatsoever. There's still people watching us. It's hard for me to fathom that. But what were you going to say? It's just
well, we gave up about an hour ago of taking this seriously, and we just started riffing. I think they actually prefer this.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, the ones left. Yes, because I see who's out there.
I think the reason that they've dropped a little bit is because you have to remember that in this country it is now technically tomorrow. So some of them actually want to get up, yeah. But I'm actually seeing some interesting chat coming from the boys and girls, especially from something I didn't realize. When I chose the name Susie, I was subconsciously picking up Susie from the chat, and she seems to be a little bit triggered about the fact I've named a sex robot after her.
I didn't say anything about that, but I did notice.
Oh, she knows I love her, really.
Even Mrs. Ogre knows who you are, Susie Monkey. I talk about you from time to time. You're very
really? What, in your sleep?
No, but she's a very sweet, lovely person. I care about her, and I'm glad that she's here. I'm glad that she enjoys this chat. She's just one of the people that are out there that I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna say she's like I said about Common Sense Guy. Very few people are that close to me, but I care about her. I'm glad she's here. What are you trying to do? You gonna try to make me cry again? Magic Bollocks? Want me to cry in front of everybody?
Did he make you cry?
I don't know. No, we were talking about after chat. I was just busting him and Common Sense Guy's balls.
Oh. No,
I cry though. I cry. I've cried. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't mind. I just ain't gonna do it right now.
I've cried recently, Ogre. I saw how much I spent on Christmas presents.
Yeah. Oh Lord have mercy. And then now they're saying it's a wives' tale, urban legend or wives' tale that no, but January the suicide rate goes up drastically in Western countries. January, early February, it's because all the credit card bills are coming in from Christmas, man.
And they had the big letdown from the all of the partying you did.
Yep, you were partying up on
Christmas and credit card hangover.
This country is not exactly the most uplifting at the best of times. So when you've got daylight that lasts less time than an average light bulb, and you've got constant rain, and everybody you meet is, "How are you?" and bloody awful, and they say, "Why is that?" Oh yeah, all miserable fucks come Moscow January. To be honest, though, Mrs. Ogre, there are some people who probably be better off if they did hang themselves in January because they're so fucking miserable anyway.
Well, I suppose if they're that miserable, maybe they should just put themselves out of their misery.
December is a great time of the year to retrain as an undertaker.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of work. And Mose, no, we didn't mention the troops tonight, but what we were talking about in that survey, that's for the 5th of next month. And yeah, believe me, the troops will be on the 10 good things of the year. They will be one of those 10, probably up close to the top. And it's never a bad time, though. So, yeah, we'd like to thank. In fact, I can speak for Magic Bollocks, man. What's better than the Royal Marines? We really appreciate the troops that saved us from the Kaiser and from Hitler, I guess, and all the other bad Mussolinis, and they keep communism and all the other boogeyman at bay. We really appreciate their hard work and everything. And I'm sure that Magic Bollocks, and I know Mrs. Ogre and myself, we hope the best for the troops all around the world, even for the troops that fight for our enemies. We hope that they have a nice, warm next couple nights, and that maybe they would even experience a little Christmas joy, a little Christmas love, much like that Christmas long ago in
1914.
Was that when they all sang?
When they had the famous football match where the bastards beat us on penalties.
Oh, what? No, I didn't know that. Are you just Josh?
Oh yeah, it was the Christmas Day truce we had with
Yes.
us and the Germans.
There you go.
The
1914.
Yeah, they basically went out of their trenches, met in no man's land, shook hands, and they had a football game.
Yep. Drank schnapps, exchanged food and cigarettes, and played football.
Well, imagine that.
Yes.
All on Christmas Day. Isn't that something?
And then the next day they started killing each other again.
Well, and there was some none of the Englishmen, but there was some German officer that said this is no way good. I won't participate in it because I don't want to be friends today with the man I have to kill tomorrow. And I guess in some ways, but no, that's just not right, man. It's always.
Well, I mean, when you think about how that war was fought and the ridiculousness of it, which was, yeah, they were basically ordering men to climb out of a trench and walk very slowly into machine gun fire.
In mustard gas and shit.
Yeah,
hell, they'd fire the
on
mustard
the plus
gas.
side, though. On the plus side, though, what's got it made hide and seek extremely exciting.
I guess so.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you got to look at the bright side. You got to look at the bright side of life. That's for damn sure. Mrs. Ogre didn't want her whoop-ass stick. I offered this. I know you've heard of base stick, man, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I've offered this on air a few times, and it was at times when there was a lot of people watching. Once when Sargon was on, and shit, 25,000 people have watched that. And man, I would have said, not now. I think the thing's over, but I wanted him on live stream, and I offered him this whoop-ass stick for Kyle, the base stick man. You can see it says. Can you see what it says? Let me see if I can turn it where you can read it. Actually. Oh.
It's at the top.
Oh yeah, here we go. See what it says right there?
Fuck you.
Yeah. All around. These were the roots of the tree. The King of Este made this for me.
Mm-hmm.
And these were all the roots. They're all varnished and anyway. I love that little whoop-ass stick. It'd be a nice welcome for any intruder one late night, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, obviously it's going off the rails now. So final warning. Been so much fun, but we are nigh on approaching. Let's do 4. We're actually going on 4 hours, dude. I can't believe it. The last hour just zoomed by. That was a lot of fun. We got to do this again. Move this mic a little bit closer and say, but this is it. This is the end. We're going to wrap it up. You and Mrs. Ogre can talk all you want after I end the broadcast, but it's going to be the end. So give us your final word, whatever it may be, Magic Bollocks, anything.
I'd just like to say thanks to everybody tonight because it's been, really good fun. And I want to wish everybody a very good Christmas. I hope you didn't do what I did and spend too much. Damn my relatives who I actually give a shit about. But just do me the biggest favor and have the best time you possibly can. And don't kill yourself in January. And I just like to say as well, Mrs. Ogre, I'm just going to stare at you for a couple of seconds. Yep. Yeah, I think I'm done. Actually, yeah.
That didn't take long.
I don't know if that's healthy at my age.
I know.
Not a lot of stamina.
I've got that. I don't have the words. So, favorite that other than thank you for coming by. You've been quite a gentleman, I must say.
Oh, you're more than welcome, Mr. Ogre. And I'd just like to say one other thing as well. I know Mr. Ogre is a little bit more reserved about growing the channel. I, on the other hand, have no inhibitions. So I say, tell your friends, tell everybody you know, get their ass to this channel. We want it to grow. We want it to be successful. And we're going to replace the now failing skeptic community because they've gone and fucked it all up. So it's now time for us to take over and become the, the big names of YouTube. And besides which, we've also got Mrs. Ogre now. If that doesn't help, I don't know what the fuck will.
Cheers that. Tell you what, man, you're God sent. I don't know what I'd do without you and Common Sense Guy, Britisher, Matt Doppelganger, Cabbage Patch Bastard, all the ones that were there that helped me found the show. And some of those names, I'm sorry they're gone in this Christmas season. Some of those names, good riddance. I'm not going to differentiate the two right now. That's just the way it is. But all of those names and many more that I didn't name and probably couldn't remember, oh man, it's been something else. So I guess I will say this with my final word. I've made a firm decision. I don't know what good my firm decision will do. We'll find out. But I've made a firm decision to take out all the blocks that I did before. Today was a good example. Magic Box had no way of knowing this, but whenever I got his list of stories today, I looked through them. I thought of the old days, and yeah, there was a couple in the old days that I would have said, do we really want to? No, you know what? It's not to be a provocateur. That's not the point. I think the point was made wonderfully by Magic Bollocks. I myself, Mrs. Ogre's sitting right here. She knows I don't want to be famous. I've already had enough fame in my life. I don't really like it when people notice me walking down the hall or in the mall or down the street. I'm not really into that. Been there, done that, didn't dig it. But this is a new experience. So I'm opening myself up to this new experience. And I'm not only seconding and furthering what he said by saying, yes, we want to grow. We're going to grow. I want to do it not my way, but I want to do it the correct way. And that will be by examining all crotchets. We do have a white supremacist coming on, a white nationalist. I can't remember what Common Sense called him. Somebody along those lines, alt-right. In fact, I think we got both. Someone that labeled themselves alt-right and another person that labeled themselves a white supremacist that believes in the ethno-state. And these people agree with them or not. I'm speaking for myself, because you may agree with them all day long or not. It's up to you. These are articulate folks that actually can make an apologia for what they believe, whether it's right or wrong. So we're going to continue to move in this direction. What we also ask as you share this and as you tell people about this excellent stream and about the excellent videos that come out from Magic Bollocks, from myself, from Common Sense Guy, as you join us in this discussion, we ask that you keep us abreast on things that are going on and not necessarily drama. Believe me, if the drama comes around, we'll find out about it, like we did this thing with Holiday and all the rest and this Crown Tea debacle. We'll find out about it. But the news that's going on, the things that are moving and shaking, the way the wind's blowing, what needs to be discussed and talked about, those are the things we care about. If you can't tell, and I'm not speaking for myself now, I'm probably the crazy jester that's there, and that'll be up to you to decide whether that's true or not. But we also have two other wonderful gentlemen here that are deep thinkers, that do ponder the reasons, the whys, and the wherefores. That's important. So we asked you, keep us abreast of these stories. Ain't Jack, you just showed up on my last word. I can't believe I just said your name, brother, but I ain't seen you all day. Good to see you tonight. Good to see you now. A little late, you night owl, but you can check this out anytime you want. Good to see you. So we do depend on you, Ain't Jack, since I mentioned your name. Captain Cole Powell, Matt Barkley, all y'all out there, JJ Soda Rock, Quinn, Susie Monkey. Let us know if there's some stories you'd like to see covered. If there's a topic you think is too touchy that others are just too scared to talk about, try Magic Bollocks. See if he's too scared to talk about it. I doubt it. Try Common Sense Guy. See, I doubt it. Me, I might be, but the lads will pull me through. They'll help me grow a pair of Magic Bollocks, and we can talk about the tough stuff. So until then, look, Merry Christmas. Don't forget it. Tell somebody Happy Hanukkah. Say Happy Hanukkah to somebody you know is not a Jew. As someone that's not a religious Jew but has Jewish blood in my veins, I would appreciate it if we would be remembered as a people, as some kind of quasi-religious sect of human beings. Be good to everybody that you meet this time of the year, because it's good practice for all the other days of the year. Don't let this be the only time that you do something nice for humanity. And above all, no matter what you do this Christmas season, be good to your friends. Be good to your family members. Be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology. especially when that thing your friend, your family member, your loved one has done seems to be so huge, you'll never be able to forget about it. Because constant viewers, my beloved Magic Bollocks, wife, at a time you think not, your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life, the Christmas season, and everything you know will depart from you.